The Earnestly Speaking podcast is a show that is founded on free-flowing conversation and may at times venture into mature subjects. Listener discretion is advised.
Yeah, Earnestly Speaking podcast. Let's get it. I'm a giant in New York, in Miami carry heat. So much more in store, my product can flood the street. Opinion Nation Godfather, CEO. Puff in the late 90s, gon' see me blow. Oh. Got my hustle on, no imitation of that. Army of untouchables, Opinion Nation staff. Never an off season, homie, check the numbers. Heart throbbing my own right, supplying southern comfort. Earnestly speaking, my ego is well fed. Earnestly speaking, you're too feeble and no threat. See, I'm like a hurricane, you're a mild breeze. Earnestly speaking, leaving Eli a dynasty.
First Week Podcast coming to you April 10th, 2024. We got another guest this week. Second time on the show. I caught you dancing on during the intro.
That happened.
If it wasn't for the overlay, we would have saw that. That was good. Not bad for white boy.
Very white boy. That's for sure.
1/5 of the 3CT podcast. Second time on the show. Actually, funny enough, exact time as last year, 1 year later. Exact time. We got Wrestlemania. So Ryan Miller with us, of course. 1/5 of 3CT, three count Thursday wrestling podcast. Ryan, what's up, buddy?
EJ, I don't remember ever being on this with that same theme song.
Yeah, same. I haven't had theme song for like 12 years now.
God.
11, 12 years. Yeah.
No, I don't remember. I know I was doing the wrestling retrospective with you, I think, before.
Well,
I'm a two-time guest.
Well, this is Earnestly Speaking podcast, though.
Correct.
So technically it's our third time doing the podcast together on my platforms. Second time on this show.
Wow.
You did the retro with me and Jim once or twice?
I think just once.
Okay, that was the
everything. I have a bad.
You got a lot going on there, buddy. By the way,
there ain't much going. Let's be honest.
By the way, how do you pronounce the town you live at?
It is spelled Lititz.
Lititz.
So it's lit. So Lititz.
I pronounce it Lititz.
Well, naturally, yeah. There was a newscast out of like Chicago that was doing like inappropriate names and the anchor's like Lititz. And the guy's like, no, it's Lititz. So it's LIT and then it's ITZ. We would pronounce it as an S, like it's like it is. It's Lititz. Lititz.
Did you miss me this weekend? I wasn't able to attend WrestleMania this year, unfortunately.
Yeah. I was excited. I got to meet some people that I've never met before, but it was
my former co-host of Take the Wrestling podcast.
Before Jim kicked you off the damn show and took your spot. That's what happened.
No, I willingly left the show.
Well, that's not what Jim tells us.
What did Jim say? Jim said
he walked right into take 3 and kicked your ass out. That's what he said.
We only need 3, not 4.
Well, take 4 didn't make sense apparently to Jim.
Allegedly. It's okay.
Allegedly.
Jim can have it. It's okay.
That's what I know. I would never put words in Jim's mouth. Food I would, but not words.
And it's funny. I'm going to meet him for the first time next week.
Really? Oh, that's right. He's heading down to you to beautiful.
We're all going to. I'm going to meet him. I'm going to hopefully meet Matt as well too.
Matt Hughes going down. Yeah, you're meeting 2/3 of 3 Count Thursday.
Yeah,
next week. I forgot that they're.
I wish I'd meet you though.
Well, I'm not a big traveler. And that's not true. I don't have any business in Florida.
Are you afraid of flying like Joe?
No,
and
I'd fly. It's no problem.
Okay. You need to tell Jim get over it and just get over it and just do
Jim
it.
will never get over that.
If WrestleMania's in Minnesota next year, which is rumored to be,
it is.
He says he's driving there. Fuck you. You're not driving to Minnesota from Pennsylvania. Not happening.
It's 17 hours. We've already checked.
What? Really?
It's a 17-hour drive.
That's it?
Yeah. I feel like
it looks longer. It looks longer though. It looks longer on the map though.
Yeah,
it does.
It does. I mean,
But
honestly, if you take, I don't know what it is down to Florida, but if you take the distance to Minnesota and like pinpoint Pennsylvania and just swing it down, it's about the same
no, to
length
your
down.
point,
Yeah,
because it's probably about 7 to 18 hours to PA
yeah,
as well.
it's a hike for sure. But I mean,
Wow, 17 hours.
I have no opposition to flying. I could.
Okay, then Jim's driving then.
Let's make a 13-hour trip 2 hours. Or 3 hours. Let's do that. That seems much better than 13 hours in a car.
Jim is driving. Yeah, if it's 17 hours, he's driving.
Yeah, for sure. He's not flying.
No,
I don't even know how long a 17-hour flight would be. It's probably 5. I don't know how long it really is.
Was a drive, 17-hour drive?
A flight. Like
from there,
if it's drive ratio.
If it's 17 hours driving from there, you have to imagine the flight's at least 2 hours.
Okay, 2. Okay.
I'm going based on what I travel to New York or up the Northeast Coast. New York City, from where I'm at, for example, is 2.5 to let's edge about under 3 hours to get there.
Okay. All right.
So you do the math, of course.
Probably about that. Yeah.
But is Lititz? It's gonna be Lititz. Is Lititz in like inland PA?
We don't have a coast, if that's what you're asking. Yeah, it's west of Philadelphia. So we'll probably talk on this later when we start talking about some politics. But when it's like election night, let's talk election night real quick. When they're calling Pennsylvania and you see the blue area of Philadelphia,
right,
blue area of Pittsburgh, and all that shit in between, Lititz is in there and all that red.
So Lititz is actually a blue county, or
no, it's definitely a red county.
Oh,
in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Lot of blue collar workers.
Have they pissed on your Joe Biden flag as yet?
No, I don't have a Joe Biden flag because I'm not in a cult.
Okay,
to be very honest.
Oh,
I'm excited to talk politics.
Just asking questions, buddy.
Yeah. No, that's fine. I don't understand. The most I've ever done was put a bumper sticker on my car.
For Biden?
No.
For Obama? No.
For George W. Bush when I was in college.
That's right. I forgot you.
I'm really the opposite of what you would expect. Like most folks start blue and age into Republican. Because I was born and raised in Lancaster, started red and switched to blue.
To your point though, you myself, you and Jim have similar political paths, if you will. Like I was very conservative growing up. A lot of it's because of my church growing up. But I was always I would never say I was a right winger. I would say I was a center right guy. And I still have a lot of conservative leanings when it comes to the economy and certain things, but I'm definitely more of a center left guy because I think I think what's changed for me more than else in the last probably last 10, 15 years is my social views have widened a lot. Like it's not that I'm pro abortion. I'm pro women's rights.
Yep, right.
It's not that I'm this and that. I've broadened my my position on things with understanding and empathy.
Yeah,
I think people don't understand. People feel like they have to be locked in. No, you don't. You think for yourself. Common sense.
I feel looking at myself 10, 20 years ago, I am a much more empathetic person today than I ever was. And ultimately, I think that makes me a better human being than I was 10, 15, 20 years ago. So,
to be honest, though, like even in 2000, now granted, I voted for Bush in 2004 for re-election. I didn't vote for him for his initial run because I was 20 years old when he ran for the first time. I never felt that George Bush was a bad guy. I always thought George Bush was a charismatic, not charismatic. That's not charismatic. That's the wrong word to use. Not sympathetic either. That's the wrong word. But
George Bush was likable.
He was very likable.
Like he's like, oh, there's your grandpa George W. Bush doing bushy things.
Right.
Like that's fun. He was like and he was much more of a Reagan Republican than the Republican Party now and the MAGA movement. That's not even. I don't even know if I can draw a ton of similarities between what Republicans are today and, Reagan Republicans and even George W. Bush Republicans of the early 2000s. But
yeah,
I mean, I voted for. I mean, here's the unique thing about me. I voted for Bush. I voted for Bush. So I voted for Republicans. The last election, I voted for Joe Biden, a Democrat. The election before that, when it was
Hillary and Trump,
I voted third party because I just couldn't see myself voting.
I don't blame you
for one of those two people. So
I live in a state where Well, now it's changing, but I live in a state where I feel like I had to make a choice, because swing states, you feel like, okay, I have to pick one because it
Sure.
can affect the other.
Pennsylvania was just as much of a swing state then.
Still is.
And I just couldn't do it, man. I feel like I'm selling myself out, and I have the right to vote, and I'm not going to not vote. I'm not going to not exercise my right to
Yeah.
a voice. As small as that voice is, and as meaningless as it is in a third party nomination. And I'm not a fucking libertarian at all. But out of those three, Gary Johnson was a much more appealing option
Of course.
than Hillary or Donald Trump. So I voted my heart, and I went with what I really wanted to do. And if anybody, and there's a lot of people that are going to disagree with this, if somebody's listening today and you're like, God, these guys suck, and you don't want to vote for Biden and you don't want to vote for Trump, vote for who you want. You don't owe your vote to anybody.
I agree. And no one's entitled to your vote either.
You're absolutely right. Vote how you want to vote. Fuck excuse my French,
No,
anybody else's opinion on that matter, man. That is your vote. Your right to vote there. That is yours. Don't let anybody sway it. Oh, well, voting for third party is a waste of a vote. Yeah, if you want to vote third party, do it till the fucking cows come home.
Yeah, and that's kind of the attitude I have too. Also, even with whether or not I like or dislike Trump or dislike Biden, and I don't know if you saw Hillary Clinton on Jimmy Fallon last week, and she's been getting a lot of heat for this. Now on one hand, I appreciate the fact that she's actually bold and not giving less of a fuck anymore, because she's out of the political spectrum now in terms of like running for any seat or whatever. No, but basically saying that you don't have a choice. You vote for these are two guys. You vote for Biden. That's it, or whatever. And to me, it's a smug attitude. I can't stand it with her and the rest of the Democratic Party. It's been an issue I've had for years.
Yeah.
And
I mean, knowing, like I said, I knew my guy didn't have a shot. Voting third party, you do not have a shot. Your guy's not going to get elected president of the United States. As long as you know that going in there, man, I voted with a clean conscience.
Yeah.
And knowing that whoever was nominated, man, that blood's not on my hands. It's not.
Yeah. Yeah. So,
I didn't vote third party to not vote for Donald Trump or not vote for Hillary Clinton. And honestly, I'd probably, if Hillary Clinton was the Hillary Clinton she is today, then I think she's a much more likable person and a much more electable candidate today, just by her attitude, than she was then.
And I will say this though, to your point, like in a lot of ways, that smugness actually is more authentic than what she was giving out in 2016.
100%.
In fact, I would argue it's kind of Trumpy in a way.
Probably. Trump doesn't give much of a shit when he talks.
And that's why I can't stand Hillary Clinton, so I'm not even defending her here. Mm-hmm. But the same Trump people like, oh, Hillary Clinton's so smug and that, but you're voting for the guy that literally acts kind of the same way too. You can't have both ways. You can't sit and say, well, don't be mean and this and that and deplorables, but then your guy is literally doing the same having the same kind of behavior towards other people. Just be honest. Look, if you like Trump's policies, vote for him because you prefer his policies. But don't bullshit me. What I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
Don't bullshit me.
Here's the deal. I don't love either candidate. I don't.
Neither do I.
I really don't. I shudder to think what a second term for Donald Trump would be. At the same time, I get it, man. Joe Biden's old. If you're running a store and you're in charge of hiring somebody, are you hiring what is he, 82-year-old Joe Biden to do a job for 4 years?
Yeah.
And I hate. Am I wrong?
No. And
is it ageist to say that?
No.
Here's the deal. I want somebody in office that's going to be alive long enough that what they implement in the next 4 years will actually impact their life.
Here's the problem. It's not that Joe Biden's old. Okay? The problem is he's old, looks old, and acts old, and the optics that come out of that show that he doesn't look with it. Okay?
That's exactly correct. Right? He has a stutter.
Right. There are 80-year-olds in Washington who actually are sharp. Nancy Pelosi, one of them, very sharp for age. You may not like the policies or not, but you can't say she's not sharp. She is. So it's not about, oh, he's old. Look, if the old guy can do the job, go right ahead. But the optics say something else.
How many spry 82-year-olds do you know?
No, well, define spry, because some 82-year-olds who actually are pretty sharp. I know quite a few who are pretty sharp in the head. Some as at my day job that are customers that are very sharp. I know a guy that's 101 years old, actually. I'm dead serious, 101 years old, and very sharp. I've known him 20 years.
Would you hire him to do a job for the next 4 years at your business with your money?
20 years ago, I might have considered that. Now, 101, he's obviously slowed down a little bit.
You would consider that at 81.
The fact that so him personally, knowing him 20 years,
okay,
and knowing how sharp he was 20 years ago still, and he's still sharp today. Obviously it's just not slow down because 101.
Sure.
I would definitely, say he's fine because I know him. But it's not the age. It's the age, and then the optics come out of that show. Like, Joe Biden is doing less press conference than any other president we've seen in our lifetime. Okay? The Democrats are saying, well, he's this and this and that, but the optics say otherwise. You're saying one thing on your mouth, on one side of your mouth, and then what's being presented to me saying otherwise. And I'm not saying I'm not going to vote for Joe Biden in November. That's not the point. Is that
I will sit here and tell you I am 100% voting for Joe Biden in November. 100%. And also, my choice. You're absolutely right.
And also, you're also in a swing state too.
Sure, that has nothing. There's not a third party. Ted Kennedy. No way in hell I'm wasting a vote on
RFK
Ted
Jr.?
Kennedy. Or Jr. I'm sorry, not Ted Kennedy.
Ted Kennedy's nephew, I think it is.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
That's okay. It's a Kennedy. It's all the same family.
The Kennedy fella. Yeah, there's no way that's happening. I don't even know which one it was running. That's how little thought I've given into voting for Kennedy.
The funny thing about RFK Jr. is weird is that where he fucked up on, really honestly, was that there was so much focus about him being an anti-vaxxer, which whatever he probably is or is. I don't know. People say he is. Whatever. I don't know. I mean, he took the vaccine.
He said enough that there's smoke there.
Had he leaned more into actual policy talk, lean more into that, I feel like he would have gotten more traction, early on in at the time he was running the Democratic primaries. He got more traction.
What policy talk is any of the two other candidates talking about right now? The only policy talk we're hearing is the Democrats spinning the economy as much as they can. Donald Trump is not doing any policy talk. The only thing he's talking about is pushing and delaying trial dates. That's a really important thing for Donald Trump. Let's get ahead of this and try to delay until it's too late and election day's here. And I've not actually gone on trial for any of the criminal I think next Monday, what's the 15th, I think is
the first
selection for jury selection for
which case is it though? Is it the New York case or is it the
I think that's the hush money case in New York. Not fully.
That's nothing.
Not fully
that
sure
case
on
means
that.
shit.
He's trying real hard to not fucking have it happen.
The case I think we needed to focus on is the one in Georgia. Definitely the one in Georgia.
The election
election stuff.
Right,
and then the one here what's the other one? I lost count. Again,
there's something. I think there's something going to. I've not followed a ton about it, but there's something going to the Supreme Court about presidential immunity. That's being seen,
also,
and a lot of that's going to play into everything January 6th. That's going to play into Georgia, especially. So there's a ton up in the air. I don't know. Here's the deal. Much like with Kennedy, where there's smoke, there's fire. Does Donald Trump do everything wrong that he's been blamed or accused of? Probably. I don't know. He's a fucking president. Presidents have always been abusing their power, I think, for years. That's not giving anybody a pass.
Yeah, that's not going to Trump at all.
But again, like today, an older, wiser, I'm 40 years old, Ryan. I kind of hope that we can just nominate a good person. That's all I want. Just a nice fella or lady. It doesn't matter. I just want to have a good person running this country.
Yeah, you're too hopeful. That's not going to happen.
I know. How are we doing? How is it a 78-year-old Donald Trump and an 81-year-old Joe? How is that's the two best nominees we can come up with. How?
We get what we vote for, man. At the end of the day, we do.
And who's in the wings for either party? Like
I
who's
mean,
as
Democrats
a
have
like who's next in line for a Republican? Now they had a plenty. It's not Chris Christie.
no the party. He's not in line with the
He's
party right
not
now
in line with the Now,
whatsoever.
if we see the Republican Party come a little bit center, a little bit more than the further extreme MAGA agenda, still he's not there.
No.
I think Nikki Haley was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
But wasn't MAGA enough?
Well, she's also what they say, typical Republican, not a rhino. Well, I guess a rhino, but also
they would label it a rhino, right?
Warmonger kind of thing. That's her.
I mean,
her,
I probably my entire life as a Republican today would have been labeled a rhino, like a Republican in name only. I was just voting for.
Me too.
Republicans. It's what I grew up with. It's what I knew.
Right.
I wasn't exposed to a ton of stuff in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Like there's people come to Lancaster for vacations to see the Amish. Like you think this is like a big melting pot of like what makes America actually great. This is
are you
not...
are you a registered Democrat now, or are you just
I'm a registered Democrat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I did officially switch parties.
So you flipped.
I didn't back in 2020. Yeah.
Oh, I never flipped. I went from a Republican in 2008. I went to an MPA, and I've been MPA ever since.
Yeah. Now in Pennsylvania, to vote in a primary, you do have to be registered. And you can register third party libertarian. You can do that.
Same here.
But you do need to be registered for a party. And I'll be honest, like if a Republican comes along and in my opinion moves the party from
where it's at now,
a mega more of an extreme Republican back more centrist.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not very loyal. I've told you I voted 3 different ways in the last 3 elections. I'm not a very loyal voter, and I hope there's more people out there like me that's not just I'm a Republican and I'm dead set a Republican, or I'm a Democrat because my parents were Democrats and that's the only right way in America, because that's not the case. Like this extremism on both sides isn't ever going to move America forward to a good spot. There needs to be more people that are like, yeah, I see it, and let's actually build a bridge and like meet in the middle somewhere.
There's definitely a desire for people to go third party, but then we hear that, and then like the results say otherwise. Like we still get stuck into 2 parties, so I got to pick one or the other. Every cycle we hear this.
Because every single election's the most important election of your life, and it's good versus evil. And if you don't vote this way, you're a prick.
Well, a lot of that
don't vote this way, you're dead to us, and you're a rhino.
And a lot of rhetoric is coming from Democrats, because like, and it gets falls deaf ears at some point. And for example, when they say Trump, if Trump wins in November, democracy is over. But then I've heard the same shit for the last like 6 cycles. If Bush wins, democracy is over.
Wokeness will be over, whatever the fuck that means.
Well, can your boy Kane, Glenn Jacobs, can find out what the hell wokeness means? Because I saw his tweet today.
He's been tweeting about wokeness for a while. I mean, he doesn't. What? Here's the deal. I'm a Democrat. I would consider myself woke, I suppose. Does like what? I did tweet something about that. Let me pull it up, because I tried to get Kane. Obviously, Kane's not going to respond to me. I'm a nobody. But let me see what the tweet was.
May talk to his brother, Undertaker. Maybe he'll. I'm gonna bring up his tweet actually too on the screen if I can.
So what is your definition of wokeness? I said, is it equal rights for all? It's not a bad thing. Is it that trans people are people? That's not a bad thing. And again, here's the deal. Growing up in Lancaster County, do you know how many trans folks I knew?
Mm-hmm.
Zero.
Do
you know now through professional wrestling and my journey through professional wrestling, how many trans folks I'm friends with? A good amount, real good amount. These are really good people.
They're human beings, man.
Do you think that wokeness means like women should have rights? Because I think they should. I don't like seeing rights be taken away from people. women had the right to an abortion. They don't anymore. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think we should. I don't know, man.
He's
Do
born in Spain. I just
does
realized that.
wokeness mean that Black lives matter? Because they do. Does this make me a bad person for being woke? I just don't understand what is so afraid. Like, what makes them so afraid of this word woke? Ron DeSantis loves the word. I mean, he's built his entire candidacy around being woke. Obviously, it didn't pay off.
Yeah. Well, it
Now,
backfired
living in
because
Florida, you can't say gay. Obviously, you can say the word gay. It means teachers, things of that nature. But what's so bad about learning about folks that are different than you? Because here's the deal. I grew up in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I didn't learn about these folks until college, until I left my little bubble of Lancaster, Pennsylvania, specifically Lititz, and got outside. Lititz got outside of that bubble, and met other people.
Sorry.
Like that's it. Like, and maybe going to college made me this liberal monster. No, in college I was canvassing the town for George W. Bush.
Yeah.
I was knocking on doors. I was volunteering at call centers to make folks aware and strike up votes for George W. Bush. So college didn't make me a liberal person. I feel like I just grew up and decided to be a better person with more empathy, and that's what made me a liberal.
All right, trying to find the tweet. Here it is right here. I think I found it right here. From Glenn Jacobs, Kane, my name is Kane.
That's gotta be woke.
Who would have thought that guy would have been, what county is it? Knox County?
Knox County.
Knox County. Where's that at, by the way?
Tennessee.
I
don't know where. I'm assuming Knoxville, Tennessee. But I'm not sure where Knox County is.
Here's a tweet right here. He goes, basically 7 hours ago, we need Donald Trump in the White House to fight back against the wokeness that is infiltrating our culture, our schools, and our military. Can't wait till November. Again, I ask you, Glenn Jacobs, and I ask you really honestly, and I ask you genuinely, what does woke mean?
I'd love for any of your listener to enlighten us. How do you define woke? I'd love to. Can we maybe just all pull our definitions and then
I've always
come to a conclusion.
Right. I've always looked at woke as aware. At least that's how it was defined for me when that word first got really mainstream, like say 15 years ago. Is aware what's going on. Somehow that word got hijacked to something else. I don't know. Like if
it's the boogeyman. To Republicans right now.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And the thing about me, that whole thing is this, though. So, especially Republicans, too, especially. A lot of Republicans anyway. So you don't want to talk policy. So this is your way to angle voters. Is that wokeness, anti this, anti that, but you don't want to talk policy.
Here's the deal. In November, policy, you can't. Donald Trump's going to put an end to whatever it is that scares Kane at night. That's what that tweet's saying.
Well, apparently, if Donald Trump's elected president, Christmas will be coming back. I mean, no offense to Donald Trump. I celebrate Christmas this past year, and nothing changed. I celebrate
Christmas every year. I celebrate Christmas as a dirty liberal.
Yeah, I mean, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? I never lost Christmas.
It's weird. It is weird. It's very weird. I go to church, not on the regular, but more than
once or
twice a year. Absolutely, I'm a Christian. Believe it or not,
no. I'm a Christian.
Liberal Christian here.
I'm a Christian.
Earnestly, you are a Christian.
Last name Christian, of course. Sorry.
Yeah, absolutely am.
Yeah. Did you see?
Are there things that I question about Christianity? Sure do.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that makes me a bad Christian.
You're a Miller. You're good. Did you see The Rock on Will Kane the other day? Talking about I guess because leading into Wrestlemania, promoting Wrestlemania is on every single platform, and I guess they're discussing his endorsement Joe Biden in 2020. That came up somehow, and it asked Rock about his how he feels about the state of the country. Here's a clip from his interview. I'm gonna react to it in a second.
Am I happy with the state of America right now? Well, that answer is no. Do I believe we're going to get better? I believe in that. I'm an optimistic guy, and I believe we can get better. The endorsement that I made years ago with Biden was one I thought was the best decision for me at that time. And I thought back then, when we talk about, hey, I'm in this position where I have some influence, and it's my job then. I felt like that then. It's my job now to exercise my influence and share with this is who I'm going to endorse. Am I going to do that again this year? That answer is no.
A lot of people on the right say that, that's a ringing endorsement or lack of Joe Biden, which could be, but he never actually said that he was not voting for Joe Biden. He never said he's not voting for Donald Trump either. He just says he's not endorsing anybody. And I think an endorsement and an actual vote are two different things.
Yeah, very different things, but we're not working in the spin of trying to take that soundbite and play it to support the guy that you wanted to support, whether it is Joe Biden or whether it is Donald Trump. Here's the deal: there's not many people that are enjoying spending gas just $3.75 here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania right now.
Yeah.
I don't love spending $3.75 right now, but the disingenuous tweets about 4 years ago and gas prices in March and April of 2020 at the height of the start of this pandemic are very disingenuous. There's obviously a straight correlation with traffic and supply and demand that drove gas prices down in 2020 because of the pandemic than where they are today. We're looking at companies that are making record profits. Inflation's a thing. I'm not going to deny that inflation's not a thing. But we're also seeing record profits from businesses, from corporations that we've never seen before. Things are more expensive. That fucking sucks. There's definitely a little bit less money at the end of the week after I go to the grocery store than there was a couple of years ago. I'm not an I don't know why, man. I don't. Is it they're making more money? Are things costing more? Is it a little bit more to pay the help? All of this absolutely is. But I don't think what The Rock said is earth shattering. I feel like The Rock has done a really good job the last couple of years, kind of separating himself from a specific political party. I think. Did you watch Young Rock? It's a show
No,
about
I still need to.
the growth of Rock.
Right.
In like memories and like him telling stories about his life as a child that made him
Right.
who he is today in the fictitious running for presidential bid.
Right.
So and not for a Republican or not for a Democrat, that never got brought up on the show. It was just The
Mhm.
Rock. So I think not announcing support one way or the other is not a slam against Joe Biden. I think it's just The Rock saying, I don't want to play in this political field
That's how I
right
took it
now
also.
today.
That's how I took it as well.
Will he vote for Joe Biden? I don't know many folks that voted for Joe Biden 4 years ago that are like, yeah, I really want to see Trump in office. I don't know a ton of those folks. That said, I mean, here's the deal: The Rock. It's his opinion to endorse somebody publicly or not.
Yeah, I will say there are a lot of people on the left who are quite shocked by this, like this whole thing. Oh, you want to sell out? And do they understand that The Rock was actually a guest speaker at the Republican National Convention 2000? I mean, he does have Republican roots. Let's be real here. Why are you surprised by this? Open history book.
I feel like there's a pretty large cross section of professional wrestlers and professional wrestling fans that are skewing to the right.
And there's also a lot of wrestlers in general. Like, I mean, I would beg to think that at least if I took a pool of wrestlers throughout throughout whatever time, I would dare say lean more right.
I would
than
think
left.
so.
Let's say about 6%.
I would think so too. And maybe that's just
60-40, 65-35 maybe.
That's a fair. Yeah, I would probably agree to that. I mean, there's a lot of Southern roots in professional wrestling.
But it's also economic too, also because
it
these are all
absolutely
the
is.
contractual, the less the less combative on taxes and stuff. And I get that's why I never really bag on, regular Republicans, because if you have preferred policies on one side, I totally respect that. Because you know why? Because I was once there too, also. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
But you start losing me when you get into the culture shit and lies and this and that. And but for the record, both sides too. Both sides do the same bull crap also.
I mean, it's a dirty game. Like, there's not many people that get into politics because it's a clean it's a clean working zone. Like, it's politics, man. It's going to be dirty.
Yeah.
I wish we could cut out some of the bullshit and some of the lies and the the purpose misrepresentation of things, but it's just never going to happen. So you have to be smart. You can't believe and see everything that you hear on the news and the fucking reading the papers and things like that. I mean, news anymore isn't really a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's giving you their spin and their take on the news. I mean, obviously, I'm not telling anybody that you don't know that you can watch the same news story on Fox News, MSNBC, and CNN and get 3 different outcomes for the same story.
Yeah.
How's it possible? News is news, man.
Agendas.
Facts. I don't want opinions.
Yeah, agendas galore.
All over.
Agendas galore. So we're still about, and I'll wrap up this part of the show, and with this, we're still about what? 7 months away from the elections, April, May, June.
We haven't even really gotten into like the political ads on TV yet. So we've still got.
Oh, that's coming.
It's coming. It's coming hard. It's not going to be good.
A lot of the polling most of the polling right now I've seen, specifically on swing states, has Trump up. Most of the marginal error, but still Trump up in 6 or 7 battleground states.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how I know Big Jim a lot of times on the show, like gets mad when I bring up polls. He gets really mad about that. But for the sake of argument, do you think the polls reflect where we're at as a country? Do you think Trump wins in November, or do you still think?
Yeah, I think the polls are a good pulse check. I don't think you can put a ton of stock in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think they are less accurate probably today than they were years ago. Here's what I truly think. If Joe Biden, well, and that's not even a thing. I mean, Donald Trump just this week was saying like abortion's a state thing. I'm not going to play in that field, which is kind of an about face for Donald Trump, who was.
He just said too also that he would not sign a federal abortion
ban. Correct. I mean, the same guy that was touting like I brought down Roe v. Wade is now saying I'm not going to sign a federal abortion ban. And it's a states' rights, which it's a women's right issue. Let's be honest.
It really is. It really is.
It's a women's right issue at the end of the day. But I think Donald Trump softening his stance, like nationally, hey, I'm not going to take away your right as an abortion nationally. That's not my job.
It's smart politics.
But pushing it to the states is very smart politics. Joe Biden, I think, really needs to lean into that, and really, really fire up like the women again. Joe Biden is not a slam dunk. I really don't think so. That kind of
sucks though. Like that you have to. Okay, we'll have this issue dangling here. You suck at everything else, but you have this one issue dangling, and that's the one issue that, okay, well, we're going to vote for you because of this one issue. It kind of sucks, though. To be honest, on its head, it really does.
If you are a woman that, works hard, let's say you might have a kid, one of your deal breakers is abortion, and you hear Donald Trump say, I'm not going to federally ban abortions. And you can realize that gas is expensive and those grocery store trips are expensive, and Fox News and Newsmax is telling me like this is Bidenomics that caused this, and you buy into that.
Mm-hmm.
And the abortion thing might be the deal breaker for you. That could skew you right. Like Donald Trump saying that is really, really smart. I hate to give him the credit for that, but it is smart. And maybe it's not him; it's somebody else saying like Biden, just or not Biden, but Trump. Just push it to the states, man. Let the states decide. If Arizona's going to ban it all, then Arizona's going to ban it all. If Pennsylvania and our governor has said like abortion is here to stay, it is a women's right to have an abortion in Pennsylvania. It is healthcare. So having it a state issue is probably a smart move for Donald Trump, but it's definitely an about face from when he was gloating about taking
Right.
down Roe v. Wade.
But
Here's the deal, though.
right.
He's not going to lose voters because of that. Voters for Donald Trump are not going to vote for Donald Trump because he's not going to sign a federal ban, because those folks are probably living in states where abortions are restricted or I don't know.
Not
I guess,
allowed.
are they straight up banned? I guess there are states where it's banned, right? So those like big states like Texas
Mhm.
are already voting for George Bush for Donald Trump, and him saying it's a states' rights issue isn't going to dissuade them from voting for him. So he's not going to lose any voters
Right.
by saying that. He can only gain voters by saying that. I think, like I said, I think Biden needs to really, really spin. Here's the deal. My 401k is doing great.
Mhm.
I am having a bang up year in my 401k, making money hand over fist. The stock market is doing some of the greatest numbers. I think we've set records
And
multiple
funny
times
for the
this
record,
year.
and a lot of some people like, oh, it's fake economy, but you're using the same metrics that you used with Donald Trump in the last 4 years in his office. You can't play both ways. You can't say that.
Right.
You said you guys literally told me in 2017, 18, 19, 20 that stock market's awesome. Well, same thing here.
Right. Really good.
What are you telling me?
Right.
So it matters when your guy's in there, but it doesn't matter when the other guy's in there.
Right. And when Trump had it running well in 2017, it wasn't coming off the back of a pandemic 4 years ago. Like, what has happened and the rebuilding that the United States has done is significant. It is really good.
Right.
At the end of the day, though, your blue collar, middle class folks aren't necessarily seeing that in their. These are the folks that are living paycheck to paycheck. When there's less paycheck at the end of the week, life is tough. That sucks. When you see at the end of the week, man, we can't go to the movies or whatever thing is that you want to do because you're a little bit tight this week because groceries was more expensive or gas was more expensive or whatever. People blame the president for that. They always have, and they always will.
Fair, unfair. Yeah.
It is right. It always will. They don't care in that moment that my 401k is looking really good.
Right.
Because you can't tap into that till you're 65, or if you choose to, you get fucking hit with like a 10% penalty, and so what does it matter if my 401k is doing great today? I'm fucking broke today. Doesn't really help me.
No, I agree.
I don't know.
Back to
I have a better paying job today than I've ever had.
Right.
Is that a Biden thing, or did I just make smart moves for myself to better myself that I could have done under Biden or under Trump or under Bush or under Obama? Like, I'm not going to praise the president because I have a better paying job that I really enjoy. That's I'm me making myself better.
Yeah.
In the economy that we're in. I don't know. Not giving the president credit for that, I guess, but
right.
I don't know.
The state right thing we're talking about, state rights and stuff we were talking about earlier. Because I do see the value in that, even though I'm pro women's rights and all that stuff. Is there something to be said that is probably the right way to go in general? Let the state decide, because at least it gives it gives the people in those states more credence and more accountability to their own set of laws, a whole set of rules. It leaves it more to the people more than anything else.
Yeah, I don't. RV Wade was the law of the land. I mean, we had multiple incoming judges when put on the Supreme Court say that Roe v. Wade was the law of the land and they wouldn't repeal that. And then when they had an opportunity for it, that it got really, so when it's the law of the land, again, I don't love seeing folks lose rights, period. So when 50% of the population loses a right to what I think is a healthcare decision. I don't know. I don't know. I've had this argument with a lot of people, like, it's a right or it's not a right. And once it's not a right, then it's taken away. So, and you can make the arguments of like, abortion at what a week and things like that. Like there's a lot of sticky and gray areas with that I'm not going to get into.
Right.
But if a woman is raped and become pregnant, there's no scenario in my head that woman should ever have to carry that baby and give birth to a rape child.
Right.
Like this is now a victim, and making that victim carry a baby for 9 months and give birth to a child that was conceived out of rape is only victimizing that woman 9 months longer than the initial night when that happened. So if you think that is wrong, then you have to understand that abortion needs to be an option in the United States.
I think a lot of folks,
you can't have it one way or the other, man. If it's all abortion or no abortion, I will never vote no abortion for instances of like rape.
Right, and I think a lot of people don't. There's a lot of people also who I don't think understand what pro-choice, pro-life means actually. And I'll even admit, there's a long time until probably about 15 years ago, I didn't know what it meant. Pro-choice does not necessarily mean you're pro-abortion.
Correct.
Again, it means it's women's rights. Now, we can haggle about how many weeks should be before this and that, accountability, the whole nine. I get that. But to me, I always said that pro-life always meant zero deviation, which means I always interpreted pro-life as it doesn't matter what happens to you. If you get raped, incest, the whole nine, doesn't matter. You're having a child. It's God's will.
So at that point, you're pro-birth.
No, I'm just saying that's what
I understand. Not you necessarily, but a person that would argue that is pro-birth. Because if somebody truthfully was pro-life, they would want to make sure that child is actually taken care of.
Yeah.
Through just the birthing phase, that you wouldn't have arguments of like lunches in fucking schools. Like, are you kidding me? Like, we could absolutely destroy like lunches. Like we could it should be paid for. There should be no reason a kid goes to school and not eat lunch if they can't afford it.
Agreed.
How is this not taken care of?
I have friends of mine who are pro-lifers, and then I asked them, well, you're pro-life, right? Yeah. Okay. If someone has rape, incest, that kind of thing, can you have an abortion? He goes, yeah, that's okay. Well, then you're pro-choice.
Then you're pro-choice. Exactly.
Again, pro-life means zero deviation. And until you can understand what it actually means, same thing with the word woke.
Right.
That's the problem. People don't understand it. And it's one of those things where you have to explain to people, exactly what it is.
This is the argument when, like, well, when is a fetus alive? Yada yada yada. Heartbeat. This and that. Oh, it has nails. Oh, it's like this is where, and a lot of the water's getting muddied when people start bringing their religious beliefs into this argument, which is great. You can have those convictions, but you can't force your religion onto laws that govern other folks.
Yeah, you can't be freedom as long as you agree with me. That's not how it works, buddy. That's how freedom works.
No, I mean you can be pro-life all you want because your religion tells you to. That's fine.
That's you.
But your religion doesn't make laws in the United States.
And I put it in a simple term here, but if you're one of those people that's like, pro-life, this and that, and do it my way, you're a narcissist.
If you don't want an abortion,
he's like, do what I want.
Abortion.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. If you don't think gay marriage if you don't want to get gay married, don't get gay married.
Don't get married.
That's easy. Just don't do
have
it.
Penis. If you don't want penis, not penis.
Don't.
But
don't do it.
But that's you. The world's rub on you. That means you're a narcissist.
Doesn't.
You're cocky and narcissist. That's it.
Right.
And they don't. But again, it isn't registered that way.
I don't know, man. I think it goes back to me just wanting to be a better human being.
Right.
Agreed.
Totally agree with you on that.
Like I said, I have, friends on Facebook that are trans, that have fully transitioned. Some are in the process of transitioning. I'm a guy, man. I'm a cis white male. I don't know even the full terminology of it. Like, I'm not great with that. Again, there's still so much I can learn to make myself a better person, especially in in that realm.
Yeah.
But I want, at the end of the day, I want these folks to be happy. I want them to like live their true self. I can do that every day. I'm Ryan. I'm a white fucking guy who lives in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. I feel like I can live my true life every single day. If
Lititz.
somebody wakes up at Lititz, Pennsylvania, if somebody wakes up and doesn't feel that, I hope they get the chance to feel that. And if that involves a transition, then who gives a shit? Good for them. Man, I want them to lay down at night and just be happy. I want them to wake up in the morning and be like, today is going to be a great day because I can truly be myself.
Yeah, as long as they're paying their taxes and not hurting anybody, who gives a shit?
Well,
That's the way I
God
see it.
doesn't make mistakes. Nope. I'm a Christian. Don't put your God argument in here.
Yeah,
Don't
that's you.
doesn't
That's
belong here.
you.
That's you.
Take care
That's
of you. Pay
right.
your taxes.
Have your view.
Yeah.
Don't transition. Real simple.
And I say as a Christian man, for the record. I mean, I got saved at 12 years old. So again, I say as a Christian man, and I've come around a lot of this stuff as I gotten older. This is me. So anyway, 52 minutes into this here, a lot of politics talk, a lot of life talk. Let's talk about why we're actually really here in this WrestleMania 40 in the books. You were there for 2 nights, both nights. Second one you've gone to.
This is I was at the very last one night WrestleMania.
That's right,
WrestleMania 35
in New York.
And then the pandemic happened. 36 was in the Thunderdome or whatever they were calling
the one
it.
fan. It was
the one fan went
the
one fan.
The PC. The PC
Yeah,
actually.
the Performance Center, the big fan.
Right.
And then they brought it back to Tampa. That was at a partial capacity. That was not full capacity.
Right.
That would have been 37, 38. I don't remember where that
37,
was.
37.
39 was out in LA, I believe, and then 40 in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia.
Very Eagles vibes. Ugh,
a lot of good colors. Man, that stage was I liked the stage. I thought the staging was great for a smaller stadium. We were never going to get what they presented to us at WrestleMania 39. Obviously, SoFi is a much bigger venue. But I thought for the link, it was perfect. I think it presented larger on TV during the actual WrestleMania event than like the reveal did. The reveal, like, oh, it's just a giant XL. But like seeing it in action on WrestleMania night, it was a sweet thing. Yeah, it was fantastic, man. We lucked out when we bought tickets. We got tickets the day they went on sale. We had multiple people trying to get into the queues, and we found club seats both nights, Saturday night and Sunday night. Now different sections.
Right.
You could buy the ticket for the same section.
But you all sat together, right? You guys all sat together?
Yeah, we did. Tim and Marcus did sit separately, but we all met together. And man, that was a really cool thing. It was 3 Count Thursday's 10-year anniversary.
That is the awesome part about all this too. And you can't even script that better. Like, you guys started your podcast literally 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Around this time.
Yeah.
And the WrestleMania happens to be in your backyard 10 years later on the anniversary, and you guys happen to all be there at the same time. I mean, you can't script it better.
You really can't, man. It was such a special moment for all of us, and the camaraderie and the brotherhood. I think that we all feel towards each other. We were able to, like, honestly, looking back on it, it really was like a euphoric moment. Like, wow, 10 years is a long time to do something with some guys talking about professional wrestling. The waters are muddied, man. There is a ton of professional wrestling podcasts out there. There's a ton that have come and gone in the past 10 years since we've been doing podcasting. So we've changed formats, man. We lived through a pandemic. We've totally, Jim and I were talking about that, man. We were almost stopped the podcast. Jim was really into not podcasting during the pandemic.
Remember
so it
that?
been, I guess, 36.
Yeah.
It was supposed to be me and Matt, and I think we had 2 guests, maybe Samara and Brittany, friends of the show. We were podcasting, and Jim was telling the story. He was like, "Hey, he was telling his wife, like, hey, I'm gonna just fire up the laptop and join us." We were doing like a Zoom call or something. Like, it was very primitive at the time for like the pandemic show, but we wanted to still cover WrestleMania like we've always done. And and Jim signed on, and we talked professional wrestling, and we covered the WrestleMania 36 card with Jim, and we were really off to the races after that. Jim's like, damn, this is the outlet that he needed. And that looking back, that it's going to be a really special WrestleMania for wrestling fans because it got us through a really big unknown moment. That was scary, man. Like that's some scary shit when you look back 4 years ago and they shuttered NBA seasons and it was just it's wild and for the WWE to be able to perform the way they did and still
AEW too. And AEW.
AEW did too. Yep, to their credit. Yep. They were still able to provide content through the Performance Center, through Daly's Place. But to still pull off a WrestleMania caliber card was nothing short of an amazing feat. But we're here for 40. So 4 years later, as an Eagles fan, man, it couldn't have been a more perfect story and I could maybe speak for Matt too, as an Eagles fan, to like be in your football stadium watching WrestleMania with your brothers. Like that's awesome. It was Jim's first WrestleMania. It was Matt's first WrestleMania. I went to 35 with Mark. So we have one Mania under our belt, but for all five of us to be in the same stadium of 72,000 or whatever it was every night is freaking awesome. It really was.
Was it that a lot of complaints I heard on Twitter during the shows was that it was not as noisy as it should have been, and a lot of the excuse was that it was because of the weather. It was too cold. Is that true?
Yeah. So the weather, the day of WrestleMania, Saturday, the high was like 52.
Right. Correct.
And
felt
then
like 46.
Like
they kept saying it felt like 46.
Yeah, which is really cool. I mean, that's something that the NFL does every week. They're going to give you those stats of what the weather is, how it's going to impact the team, especially in a colder weather environment. So I really like that the WWE leaned into that because it just kind of legitimized the broadcast more like you'd see on an NFL broadcast.
Correct.
So I thought that was a really cool touch this year. But yeah, man, the temperature wasn't awful. I've gone to football games. It gets cold. You're in the seats. The problem was Saturday was windy.
Right.
And that wind just cut through you. And you don't it's 52, so you're not wearing like a heavy fucking coat.
I heard Joe was struggling too because I was texting Jim at the stadium, and Joe had to go up to the up to get warmed up a little bit. It's like, dude, you're from New York. How are you so cold? And it's like,
we should have put Joe between Matt and between Jim and myself. There might have been more body mass to block some of that wind.
Tiny Joe.
But we had club seats. I couldn't imagine the 200s was probably a little bit windier.
Yeah, on top, right.
But the way the stadium's set up, like there is the kind of an alley where wind can kind of come through the club level and just it definitely, man, Saturday night was chilly. It really was. There was a moment I even took to the concourse, which was a nice heated concourse because it's the club seats.
Right, of course.
And I grabbed some Chicky and Pete's French fries. Mm-hmm. Their crab fries. And I would normally have taken them back to my seat to eat, but I was just content missing the second half of a match to eat them in the warmth to kind of recalibrate my temperature to go out for like part 2 of night 1 of WrestleMania. So yeah, night 1 was chilly. Night 2 was much better. We probably got into match 4 on the card. And then like a gust of wind came and you just felt the temperature drop like 10 degrees. And then it was, what was the second to last match?
Bailey and Io.
Right. It was Bailey Io and then the main event. So the crowd was just like hyped and elevated. So the cold just didn't bother you then.
Yeah.
Night 1 had a really long main event. That was a long match, 40 some minutes.
How was it watching that match though with Rock and Roman versus Cody and Seth? It's all over the place. It's not in the ring half the time.
It didn't feel like it was a very long match live.
It was 44
Here's
minutes
why.
though.
It was 44 minutes. It was
Yeah.
it was over half an hour. You had this euphoric moment of seeing. Well, first of all, you got to whoa with Cody Rhodes. That's a big deal. Like the whole football stadium doing
Yeah.
the whoa
Yeah.
at the same time. It's pretty freaking cool. And they
Mhm.
let that theme song play for a bit live in the
Twice
stadium.
on
So
both nights. Yeah.
we were whoaing an awful lot, and every single time it didn't like hit that part of the song and the crowd not whoa with them.
Right.
You got to sing with Seth Rollins.
I was dancing in my living room.
That
when
was
the song
really
came
cool.
out.
And then Roman Reigns, I mean, it's just a spectacle to see everything that Roman Reigns and Paul Heyman does. And then
Yeah.
you get The Rock's entrance. You get a wrestling entrance at WrestleMania 40 for Dwayne The Rock Johnson with the lightning and the Brahma bull that's on fire. And the first 15 minutes of the match, you were still high from the entrances.
Yeah.
Like, wow, this is such a cool spectacle. 15 minutes is gone. You don't even really realize 15 minutes is gone.
By the way,
there's plenty of monitors for the
right.
action throughout, so you were able to follow along pretty well. But that match did not feel. I haven't watched it back yet. It may feel longer on TV,
Yeah.
but live in person, man, it did not feel that long.
By the way, I think this run of The Rock, this final boss run, for me personally, solidifies him as a Mount Rushmore guy in WWE history.
I think you're right.
Reinvention's a big deal for me, and he's still relevant 20-something, 30-something years later.
Very relevant. Very, very relevant. Board member, TKO, whatever you want to say, like that was some GOAT level shit by Dwayne the Rock Johnson. That was really good.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the deal. Monday night on Raw, him and Cody Rhodes. It was about a 40-minute talkie segment to start Raw after Mania.
Let me ask you, because last year on the podcast you said you hate the Rawslemania. It's been shitty the last couple of years. Do you feel the same way this year?
It was better than some of the previous Raw after Mania.
Okay.
We saw Roxanne Perez, the new NXT Women's Champion, and Ilya Dragunov, the NXT Men's Champion. So that was cool.
Right.
The
obviously Rock and Cody, their whole thing teasing the future. Which, by the way, I already said. I even before the Raw Monday, I said Rock and Cody SummerSlam writes itself.
Yeah, I think I love The Rock's honesty of like the Rock's gotta go away for a little bit, like that.
Yeah.
Like it's just it's perfect.
To be real, I think this is the Paul Levesque.
The Paul Levesque era.
Yeah.
But specifically the Rock and Cody segment on Monday Night Raw, the ratings came in. There was about 3,200,000 viewers for that segment. And a 1.1 in the 18 to 49 demographic. It's the highest quarter hour for a WWE TV segment in years. So that's like the WWE knows what they're doing.
It's
that seemed like a long segment, but I was there for the entire segment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the Raw after Mania, so we're not getting a ton of debuts. We got Jade. Looks like Jade starting her singles run. Chelsea Green, I think, does phenomenal work with what she's given. Like the whole,
I love the character.
It's such a great character, and man, she makes the best out of it. To go out for a squash match against Jade and be like the number one in Jade's single career victories in the WWE. But she just plays that role so well, and it's so unlikable. She does such a great job. I wanted to shout her out. But yeah, man, it's WrestleMania. If you've never been to one, you have to go to one.
Yeah, it's a bucket list for me, brother. It really is.
It's something like I'm never going to be able to get to a Super Bowl, but I can afford to go to a WrestleMania.
I don't want to go to Super Bowl, to be honest with you. I really don't.
Really?
It's too corporate. It's too corporate for me.
Okay.
Way too corporate for me. I'm good. I go to the NFC Championship game.
And that corporate, I mean, that drives those ticket prices to a level where the average fan cannot afford to go to a WrestleMania.
It doesn't
go to a Super Bowl.
It doesn't feel like an NFL game to me. It doesn't feel. It feels more like we're gonna cater to these people who don't watch normally every week, just because. I'm good. I never had a desire. I'd rather go to NBA Finals, a Stanley Cup, or
okay.
I'd rather go to a World Series game, crying out loud, than I go to Super Bowl. Honestly,
Yeah,
and I love football. You know that.
Yeah.
I'll touch on Cody in a second. He's a champ, obviously. Roman Reigns. Mm-hmm. Obviously, phenomenal reign. Nearly 4 years as champion. I was on the impression, I was torn on who to root for in this match, because on one hand, I love Roman. I think Roman's fantastic. And I think if we're talking about Rushmore all time, he's closing in. Mm-hmm. This run may have just done that. At least make it a conversation. On the other hand, I'm a Hogan mark. I mean, again, my sweet spot all time wrestling is the Hulkamania era. So I know Terry Bollea, obviously, we know his life and all that stuff and what he said in the past, all that. But Hulk Hogan, the character, is one of one for me. Obviously, Savage was number one for me than Hogan. But I thought that the only reason I picked Cody to win the match, but I thought the only thing I said was that if the WWE prioritizes Roman beating Hogan's record of 4 years and some odd days as champion, then Roman wins the match, because he would have to get to September to beat the record. Mm-hmm. Clearly, that's not the case. But what do you see Roman next? So you think he'll take a long time off? We saw a video yesterday of him on an elliptical, I guess it was.
Yeah.
He's day one, when they call that. What do you do, Roman? Do you think Roman takes a lot of time off, or do you think he's gonna be around for a while?
I think he has earned it. Now, obviously, people are going to roll their eyes when you talk about maybe the defenses of the championship that Roman Reigns had compared to somebody like a Hulk Hogan or a Bob Backlund or a Bruno Sammartino. Mm-hmm. But professional wrestling is very different then to today. I don't know what good it would have been to beat Hulk Hogan's record. So Roman Reigns goes from 4 to 3 on the list. Is that a big deal to fans to not have this WrestleMania moment where Cody Rhodes finishes his story, gets the championship? We were talking about this actually in the car ride after WrestleMania. Well, I don't want to say car ride. We were sitting in traffic in Philadelphia having this conversation. But like, you had to go through the disappointment of WrestleMania 39, where everybody's like, Cody's going to win. Cody's going to end this 3-year reign of Roman Reigns. So we had to go through 39 and the disappointment of 39 and the shock of like, God,
I loved it, for record.
They are just jamming Roman down our throats. A whole year you had to go through to get to the payoff of WrestleMania 40, where Cody Rhodes did the unthinkable. The great thing about it, man, as a wrestling fan, I didn't know which way they were going to go. And you can make an argument for either way.
And by the way,
there's not a right answer.
And by the way, they did the right thing last year. Roman should have won last year, because Cody winning last year would have been too obvious. There was no build, because Cody was out for injury, came back and for Royal Rumble, won the Rumble, picks Roman. Okay, cool. But there's no build to that. There's nothing there.
Right.
This is the right way to do it.
I am Cody. I won the
perfect.
Rumble. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. That's too obvious. That's too cookie cutter. No. They did the right
thing.
And
to go through hard times after hard times after hard times.
Like his father.
And that just makes the payoff. It makes you want it more and want it more and want it more. And then boom, you get it. And you're just like,
the only thing
great match, man. You got really great surprises in the title match on night 2. Joe actually said, I have to credit Joe this. It was very ECW style, which is great for a Philly crowd, that a lot of ECW shows ended with like
chaos,
a foil to every chaotic moment. So the chaotic moment of Jimmy Uso, Jey Uso, the chaotic moment of Solo Sikoa, boom, John Cena. And that these all made sense. You have The Rock You have Shield Seth Rollins, which played such a huge overarching story that Roman was blinded still to this day by the
10 years later.
betrayal of Seth Rollins, because that was really the moment and the chair shot to Seth that left him vulnerable to Cody Rhodes to finish the story.
Yeah.
And apparently a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago, 2 months ago, Seth said in a promo to Cody something like, I'm like uniquely qualified to be in your corner. I will be your shield. And at the moment, everybody's like, oh, they made a Shield joke because he was in the Shield. Really cool. But at the end of the day,
That's what happened.
Shield Seth Rollins is what came down and distracted Roman
Open the door for
Reigns
Cody to win.
enough
Correct.
and opened the door for Cody to win.
Long-term storytelling matters, man. Always.
You know, The Rock and The Undertaker, there's history there. A lot of people were saying, like, that should have been The Rock, Stone Cold Steve Austin. And
I was one of those
quite
people.
frankly, I was waiting real hard. I was filming with my camera. I was like, I'm gonna be at the stage. I want to get glass breaking and like, didn't happen. But goddamn, did I pop when I heard that gong?
Yeah, and not only that, not only
that, I wasn't even thinking The Undertaker.
And the thing is, in hindsight, and someone reminded me of this too. Unfortunately, I wasn't watching the product at the time, but I had reminded of this. These are all ghosts of Roman's past. Roman did be taken to WrestleMania and WrestleMania 3.
Yep, he was Taker's second defeat.
Second loss, yeah.
The next day on Raw, came out and said, "This is my yard now."
Yeah.
So there's no history with Stone Cold Steve Austin and Roman Reigns.
I was saying the history with Stone Cold.
I mean, the history with Stone Cold is The Rock. So
correct.
if you think Rock's foil would be Stone Cold Steve Austin, if it was Rock only, Stone Cold Steve Austin makes a ton of sense.
Right. Correct.
In the storyline of the Bloodline, Stone Cold Steve Austin doesn't mesh very well, whereas The Undertaker absolutely had history with The Rock, absolutely had history with Roman Reigns.
Right.
Was it the right choice? Man, glass breaking would have sent Philly over the fucking edge.
Austin is the biggest superstar to this day in the history of WWE.
It would have been huge. So much so that even after the match, I wouldn't have been shocked to hear glass breaking for Stone Cold to come out, cheers a beer with Seth Rollins.
Right.
Or I'm sorry, with Cody Rhodes. Like, I was that mentally prepared to see Stone Cold Steve Austin at WrestleMania that not having it didn't take away from WrestleMania, but like I built in my own mind this scenario where like Austin has to be here.
Right.
Fine that he wasn't. But it's a slightly disappointing, man, when you want something like that and you're like, it's gonna be bong.
Yeah.
And the Crowd Night 2 was good, man. The Crowd Night 2 was
much better, much more engaged. Way more engaged than night
they
one.
Popped for everything they should have popped for.
Yeah. I will say this much though. My takeaway from that match is this with Roman is this. Roman had his Hogan moment, Mania 6 moment after night 2. And it's even more pronounced after watching Raw and the way the crowd reacted to Roman. You know, Cody did his, give him his props. Thank you, Roman, whole nine. You remember after WrestleMania 6 when Hogan lost the Warrior?
Which moment are you specifically talking about?
Hogan Warrior, when Warrior beat Hogan for the title at 6. What was Hogan's tag at that point?
What was Hogan's what?
What was he introduced as after that match? Because there was a shift. Hogan lost the title, but Hogan was made immortal.
Right? Immortal. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't knowing where you were. Yes.
Roman Reigns is now immortal.
Correct.
With this feud. And we'll see if Cody can sustain this. Because I've been saying, for a long time that the chase is easy. People underrate how important the chase is. Part of Stone Cold Steve Austin's success. Stone Cold Steve Austin, for the record, the most popular superstar in the history of the company.
Mm-hmm.
However, not even close to one of the greatest champions of all time. He doesn't have any memorable reigns. Think about it. Think about all his title reigns. Not very memorable. His chase has been memorable though.
Always has been. Yep.
Right. So the chase is easy. The chase is the money. The money's in the chase, I say. Cody for the last year and all that. That was the money. The money spot. Now you got there. You got to the grass ring. You finished the story. Now what? And that's the challenge. And I will say this much, because I think Cody will succeed on this, because unlike a guy like Ultimate Warrior, who wasn't dedicated to his craft, even though he was very much over at the time, one could argue as, if not more than Hogan in 1990. Cody at least has the pedigree. Cody Rhodes also has the lineage, and Cody Rhodes is just dedicated and is a much better locker room guy. People respect him, and I think he will be a successful champion. Now, how long holds the belt this reign? We'll see what happens there.
Yep.
You already seen the seeds already? How do you book Cody going forward? We're already seeing that Rock will be in the picture at some point. I already said pencil in Cody and Rock SummerSlam this year, but it writes itself. Who pinned Cody on Saturday? The Rock did. That's a story right there you're telling. But moving forward, and this is how I knew Roman was going to lose. I knew Roman was going to lose on Saturday night. You know how I knew Roman was going to lose? Gunther losing.
Really?
Was my clue.
Okay.
Yes. Because if you're going to have Roman exit stage right, you need to start elevating guys to the main event picture.
Okay.
And I said this on Saturday. I tweeted this on Saturday too during the show. Gunther, in essence, losing to Sami Zayn, he had his Randy Savage moment. Let me explain. Let's go back to WrestleMania 3. Steamboat Savage, arguably the greatest match in history of WrestleMania. Arguably.
Fantastic wrestling match.
Right. Steamboat won, right? Steamboat won. Who was the bigger star at the end of that match, though? Who ended up benefiting more than anybody else at the end of that match?
Oh, yeah, and Macho Man went on to have a much bigger career, yeah.
Right. He got elevated. And eventually what happens with Gunther, I think Gunther is going to be elevated to the world title picture. I already see a scenario, barring any unforeseens, next year's WrestleMania is going to be Gunther and Cody Rhodes.
Really?
That's my prediction.
Wow, okay.
Yeah. So that sometimes the WWE tells you what they're doing. And history always repeats itself. And in the event of Savage lost title to IC title to Steamboat, has one of the most amazing runs of that year without the title. You know, him and Honky had a little battle and all that stuff. And then by WrestleMania 4, he's champion of the tournament.
Wow. All right. I think we get to Seth Gunther before WrestleMania of next year. I think Gunther has an obvious claim to being like, I was the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion.
Correct.
I deserve a shot at the step up belt. So I think we get to to Cody Gunther before Mania. Now, whether it's revisited at Mania, who knows? I just feel like Gunther Cody is a great Night of Champions or a great
Survivor Series, at least?
Survivor Series style match, right?
You don't think WrestleMania?
I don't think that's a WrestleMania match yet. I think, I mean, who knows? I don't know if you get the Rock at WrestleMania. If you don't get, or at SummerSlam, if you don't get the Rock at SummerSlam, I think you're looking at Rock Cody next year at WrestleMania.
Yeah. On a bigger stage.
And that's right. That's huge. That's the Rock saying, you had our number. You had Roman's number, the bloodline. I told you I'd be back to collect. Now I'm back. I think Cody retains there too. If that's the case.
My question is,
man,
though,
you're absolutely right. Gunther looked like a star coming out of Saturday night, and Sammy looked great too. Going into WrestleMania, that would have been one of my like slam dunk matches. Gunther's retaining. I was fairly certain Gunther was going to retain in that match. As much as I thought Rhea Ripley was going to retain. So as that Sammy match went on, I even said it to, it was either Matt or Joe or Jim or Mike, one of those four guys, that like, I didn't know how much I wanted Sami Zayn to win this match, but as that match went on, the support around Sami, the whole stadium was buying into this notion that Sami Zayn might be able to do the unthinkable here and beat Gunther, because we've not seen anybody even challenge Gunther where it's like the belt's in trouble. This is the first time we're seeing Sami, and they put Gunther over so good. Gunther was whooping Sami's ass. And then brainbuster, haluva kick to the back of the head, haluva kick, 1, 2. Everybody's kind of thinking it's going to be a 2 count, and Gunther's going to just kick out, and like, boom, 3. You're like, what? Like that was the match, the moment of Monday night of night 1 of Saturday night.
Absolutely. Best match
Damn,
tonight.
just God, you just have to get to a WrestleMania, man. The pomp and circumstance of everything, the lights, and the camaraderie of just everybody. There's something about being in a stadium of 72,000 people, all cheering or booing the same thing. Like there's something about that, man. It's just you just have to experience it.
If you had to pick one WrestleMania of the 40 to, like God says, you can rewatch any WrestleMania, and I'll drop you into the crowd that WrestleMania. You got to pick one WrestleMania. Which one do you pick?
Boy, 31 would have been
play
special.
Button.
You see play button. That is Seth Rollins cashing in during a match which we've never seen before to open the show. You've got Sting, the nostalgia of the NWO, and DX with Sting and Triple H. You have Rusev coming out in a tank. You have Undertaker and Bray Wyatt on a WrestleMania stage. Man, 31 was a fantastic WrestleMania. Maybe an older one.
Mine is 5, but Trump Plaza. It's my favorite one. 5.
Sure. 3.
I mean,
it's such an iconic moment, man. Like
being there for the moments.
Hogan slamming Andre, saying you saw that live.
Yeah,
like that's a moment that even non-wrestling fans are familiar with. Like they'll know Hogan picking up Andre and what Andre looked like, and just that moment's just.
And that was a good card in general. That actually, people talk about Hogan, Andre's tag with Steamboat, but that card was actually really, really good.
Wasn't a bad card.
That's my era. So again, I'm a little more tuned into like what was going on in the mid cards too back then. Junkyard Dog and King, Harley Race, and Roddy Piper against Adrian Adonis, Piper's last match for 2 years. So I was a little more plugged in. So that was actually a really good card in general. I mean, obviously he's not. It doesn't have the flair in the same way of today's athletes, but you have to
but wrestling's different than it is today. So yeah, I would say either 31 or 3 would be a really cool moment to do. Obviously,
yeah, definitely. By the way,
the personal feeling of WrestleMania 40, like I said, with doing it with my guys,
that's so different.
Like that's so cool. To relive that moment, and again, it says some recency bias because it would just happen, but. I've been on cloud 9 all week.
Yeah, you should. Yeah. If you had told me though the Usos match, I mean, I know how you feel about that, but it was the worst match in the weekend, I would have called you a liar, and yet it was, in my opinion, the worst match in the weekend.
Yeah, that was a dud of a match, man. Again, watching it back is the first time I really realized it wasn't a good match.
Yeah.
Because when you're in the crowd and you're eating with everybody, man, like it's the moment that forgives a subpar match because it's the moment, and every J yeet, like that's fun, man.
Yeah,
that's so you get lost in the atmosphere. You didn't even realize it was a bad match until we watched it back. I was like, yo, that match was,
it never got a first gear,
drizzling shits. It didn't, and they made up for it. I think their spot night 2 getting speared off the stage, the entrance ramp, I think made up for a bit of that. But
I was gonna say that too.
That was a pretty cool moment. But that match just didn't do it. The Philadelphia street fight.
That was better than I thought it was going to be. That match had no business being as good as it was. I thought
it was better than I thought it was going to be. But the crowd popped because it had Snoop on commentary, so you had to hear Snoop and see Snoop's entrance.
Did you guys hear? Holy shit! Did you guys hear him?
Yeah, you don't hear his commentary, but you heard the entrance.
He was hysterical on commentary.
Oh, it's hilarious. I went back and watched it.
Oh my god,
so good.
I was touching Jim during the match, like, dude, you got to listen to Snoop when you get home. This shit is hysterical.
It's hilarious.
Yeah,
it's some of the best commentary work of the entire weekend. And then you pop for Bubba Ray Dudley. It's cool to see here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
It's a hardcore match. We've got some tables. Of course, Bubba's going to be part of that. So again, you can look at lower moments of the weekend and be like, oh, but again, you're in the stadium, so you forgive a poorer match because you pop for Snoop, you pop for Bubba Ray, you pop for Lane Johnson and Jason Kelsey in the tag match.
You pop for that. I don't pop for that. I'm a Giants fan.
I missed it.
You missed it? You in the bathroom?
That was my crab fry match.
Some Eagle fan you are.
I know. It breaks my heart.
God,
that was my match.
Yeah.
And then after the fact, I got the text, dude, Jason Kelsey. I was like, fucking hell, I just missed it. I know I missed it.
You bastard.
Sure enough. Why wouldn't you text me 5 minutes ago? I'm just here eating crab fries. Of course I'd have been out.
Biases aside, because a lot of people are saying, "Oh, greatest WrestleMania of all time." I completely disagree with that. First, I think the last two are better as a show in comparison.
Really? Okay.
Biases aside, because I know obviously you being there, you're gonna feel a different way about it. Where does this WrestleMania stack up for you all time? Top 10, 5? I mean, as a card, not just as you being there, as a card.
I think the outcomes were fantastic. I think the right folks won the matches that they were supposed to win. Bayley getting her win is a really cool moment. Obviously, that Roman Reigns match night 1 to win set up everything for night 2.
Mm-hmm.
Cody Rhodes going over is a huge moment. I don't know how you don't look at this card and the outcome of paying off a 4-year storyline of the bloodline with Cody Rhodes being a major part of that and not include this as a really important WrestleMania moment. Rhea Ripley retaining, I thought was the right call. What are some of the other matches? I thought the 3-way match for the United States Championship showed out really well, and all guys looked really good coming out of that. With Logan Paul retaining, that makes sense, especially with SummerSlam in Cleveland this year. Let's see what else was there. You saw the women's 6-woman match. Jade making her WrestleMania debut. That was an important moment. I think, and it's hard. And Jim and I talked about this. Jim said like he'll never be able to rank this WrestleMania fairly, and he's absolutely right. You can't. There were moments of 35 that being there live, you were like, wow, that's historic. Coming out of 35, I would have probably ranked that a top 5 WrestleMania. I've softened on that a bit. I put 40 probably in the top 5.
Top 5?
I do. I put this in the top 5.
Definitely top 10 for me.
Triple H is going to come out on Monday Night Raw the following night and say, I can say that was the greatest WrestleMania of all time until next year when I can say it again.
And then the year after that. Right.
And the year after that, like you have to put over the product that you just witnessed.
Yeah.
It smashed some records this weekend. NXT was the highest gate at an NXT show ever. For
did you go to that? I know some
guys. Yeah, we were on the floor for Stand and Deliver. That was a fantastic show.
Okay.
Yeah. This again, I'm probably not judging it fairly either.
Yeah.
Because even when I watch it back, I'm never going to be able to watch it back seeing it for the first time. I'm always going to watch it back and remind myself of a moment of being there live. So it's never. It's hard to answer. It's a top 5 for me.
I'll say it's definitely top 10 for me of the shoot. I will need to let it simmer a couple like a year or so before I decide.
Today, what are 3? Just 3 that you put above this?
17, obviously.
Okay.
3.
Okay.
I love 19.
Okay.
And to me, this is the thing. This is how I grade what a great WrestleMania is, a great card in general. I need to have at least 3 to 4 matches that stand out on its own. And those shows have that in spades.
Okay.
3 has at least 3 or 4 matches. 19 definitely has 3 or 4 matches. More than that, actually, in my opinion. 17, the entire damn show was phenomenal.
I think
17, I love
always
30,
going to be in question for one of the greatest WrestleManias of all time.
I love 38 and 39. Love 38 and 39.
Okay.
Love them both. I thought the cards that had so much enough moments for me to say yes. You know.
Let me strip that question down a little bit more.
Okay.
Specifically talk about the Roman Reigns Cody Rhodes main event night 2.
Mhm.
Is that the greatest main event match in WrestleMania history? And if not, what would you put above that? Would
No,
you
it's
put
not.
Rock Austin from 17 above that?
Easily. I thought Rock Austin 19 was not a main event, actually, so that's telling you right.
Right, yeah, specifically just the main
Is
event.
it top
Right.
10 off the rip? Yes. Although I would argue that last year's was just as good, if not better.
Okay.
I think we loved the moments at the end of the match
For sure.
itself.
The
But
payoff.
I think the actual match last year was phenomenal. I will say Roman, though, wasn't his bag in this match this year.
Okay.
Roman shit talking to cameras and this and that. I don't know if you watched the playback yet of the match itself, but Roman
I've not watched the main event yet.
was in his bag. Roman was all heel. Was, oh my God, talking shit to the cameras and this and that. That made this match just as good as last year's.
How did that entrance come across with the orchestra? Was that
It's
pretty
all right.
solid?
It's good.
Okay.
I would rather have it regular. I'm
Okay.
basic. I'm a
Okay.
basic guy. I'd rather have this regular music on there because
That's
I
fair.
want it.
I mean, night
look,
2 overall felt more like a WrestleMania than night 1.
night
Like,
2 was 9.5 out
night
of
2
10.
blew night 1 out of the water. Like
Yeah,
night 2 had the Drew get the special entrance, the mummers with Seth Rollins. Of course, he's dressed as a mummer. How fucking
Dude,
of course.
that dude was nuts. His wrestling those 2 nights were nuts. Like, what is he wearing? Oh wait, what's he wearing now? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
To me, like, look, I don't want to sound biased because of my era. I have a hard time taking up Hogan Andre because you had to be there to understand the massive big deal that was in 1987. You had to understand how big it was.
Sure thing, Pappy.
Forget all the, oh, well, it didn't have this glitz and glamour. No, you got to understand Hogan Andre was a massive deal in 1987.
Didn't need the glitz and glamour.
It still is today. We'll talk about it today.
Right.
But like main events wise, and I'm actually gonna do a podcast on this probably in the next couple of weeks. Ranking my top 10 favorite main events.
Of WrestleMania.
Yes.
I can't wait to hear that. Let me know when that drops. I'm 100%.
You want to come on that episode with us? Want to come on?
I don't because I can't judge 40 fairly.
You can't 40.
I wouldn't be able to judge it fairly.
I mean,
but I'd love to listen objectively
and
hear your opinion on the top 10 that you put in.
I think you have to put this one there in the top 10 definitely off the rip because this feels like an inflection point, not just for Roman and Cody, but for the company as a whole. And that has to matter. You know what I mean? That has to matter. We're in a new era now. This weekend was the official end of Vince McMahon WWE.
Yep. And the coronation of the Paul Levesque era. Right. We heard that a lot this weekend.
Right. And they made that very clear.
Very clear.
In rhetoric and in actions.
So much so, I thought night 2 when Stephanie came out.
Yes.
That she was going to say, like, you may know me as Stephanie McMahon, but today I'm Stephanie Levesque. And we were actually going to get a name change for Stephanie. Like, I was surprised that didn't happen. And I don't know, maybe a couple years ago or maybe a couple months ago, I don't even know what it was. Like, there was some rumors that they weren't doing well as a couple, but whatever, it's not my business. But they're better now. I was really thinking to remove the name McMahon. And McMahon, the name didn't do anything wrong. Vince McMahon, the human being, was on trial with some of these things. So there wouldn't be a reason to change her name from Stephanie McMahon to Stephanie Levesque, but I thought it could have happened. But yeah, we're definitely in the Paul Levesque era. And man, I'm excited to see 1 year, 2 year, 5 years down the road what that's gonna look like.
And they're definitely diminishing Vince's roles in that company, not just in creative, but also I know some report that came on Monday that the TKO is looking to buy out as much as they can stock out of him to the point where he only 4% left, 4.2% or whatever it was of the company, basically making him almost relevant.
Dude, and good riddance to Kevin Dunn and his style of production. The WWE has been hitting grand slams with those long shots where you'll see like Sami Zayn backstage and then
Mhm.
Sami Zayn walk through Gorilla, walk through the staging and out. Love it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you checked any of the speed out, the WWE speed, the 3-minute matches they put on
No,
Twitter?
I need to. I
Check them
need
out,
to.
man. Different camera angles. You get
Mm.
this long, continuous, like establishing shot of the ring. It's kind of an elevated shot
Mhm.
from the boom camera that we just don't see in professional wrestling, especially the WWE. They became very formulatic or
Formulatic.
yes, of
Formulaic.
formulaic
Right.
of their camera work. So everything um is a fresh kind of feel to it, and as like a lifelong wrestling fan, you're like, change. This is welcoming. This is neat. What a cool shot
Yeah.
to take the camera through Gorilla. This I shouldn't be seeing this. This is the backstage area. Like this is different. But an era like where kayfabe's dead, who gives a shit? Everybody
Yeah.
knows what Gorilla is. Everybody's seen the documentary of Brock maybe coming back and throwing the belt at Vince McMahon,
Mhm.
after it, or a hug of somebody backstage. That
Yeah.
Sami Zayn did it this weekend. It was that really long shot from his family, talking with his family, and followed Sammy up, caught Kevin Owens through Gorilla out to the crowd. Man,
Yeah.
fucking just awesome. Something so different
Yeah.
that man, the WWE's just
They're crushing right now.
hitting home runs, man. They're printing money, that's for sure. With 18 consecutive television sellouts. Psh,
Yeah.
come on.
Meanwhile, AEW is struggling to not even crack 800,000 viewers every run
Business is
tonight.
good. Here's the deal. Tonight they exposed the
I saw the
CM Punk
video.
footage.
This is nothing.
I don't know what it's an absolute nothing burger. It's pretty much sums up what CM Punk
said.
said had happened on Monday. If
feel
it
like
pops a rating for him, great. Here's what I really thought was going to happen. I thought it was going to be like a Dark Side of the Ring documentary, but just as a mockumentary where you saw some
Yeah.
actual footage, but you saw like up in the corner, it's going to say like dramatization, and you'll have an actor playing Punk and an actor playing
Right.
Jungle Boy, and just kind of have that blurry footage, but to just show the footage the way they did, it didn't have any audio. It was just footage. I
I feel
don't
like
know
Tony
what
Khan,
that does
and I feel like
for
Tony Khan,
AEW.
Tony Khan did more harm than good for his company because this is a bad look. Okay, cool. Your point.
Right, so CM Punk's a dick. Most
And
fans thought that anyway. Punk took his ball and went. And remember, you're not telling WWE fans anything new about CM Punk,
that we didn't know already.
right? We love CM Punk for that. Yeah,
He
Punk's a
make
prick. He
Tony
is.
Khan
He's
make,
our
is make,
prick.
he's making, and as someone who was an AEW mark for a while, he's making AEW less watchable now. It's just like
I don't want AEW to suffer. I don't want AEW to close up shop. I want AEW to be as successful as possible. I have friends that have wrestled at AEW and have gotten opportunities maybe they otherwise wouldn't, because AEW exists today.
right.
And I am very thankful for that. I think a rising tide raises all ships in
Absolutely, been
professional
saying it for
wrestling.
years. Yep.
That AEW is a good thing, not only because it's made WWE a better product, because they had to be, but because there were opportunities out there. To tie this into politics,
I love
if
it.
AEW is unsuccessful, they can only blame themselves and Tony
Absolutely.
Khan.
Yep.
If Joe Biden doesn't get elected, they can only blame Joe Biden and themselves.
Right.
If Donald Trump doesn't get elected, the Republicans can only blame Donald Trump for being the person Donald Trump is.
Right.
They can only blame Joe Biden for not being like, yep, I'm getting up there in age. That's a concern for a ton of people. It might be better if I step aside and allow somebody else to take the helm. That Donald
Right.
Trump is saying, yep, I got caught and I did some bad things, and the party would be better without me. If Tony Khan doesn't say, yep, I am in a little bit too deep, I am making some poor decisions here, it's going to cost the company money. It's going to cost viewers. It's going to cost somebody like Earnest Christian to say, "Oh, why did they do that? I'm soured on them now." One soured viewer eventually becomes
More sour viewers.
a more sour viewer, which eventually comes less eyes on the product because people aren't going to tune in. So like you need to be aware in 2024. I think you just need to be aware of all of the intangibles surrounding what you're doing. I don't think what AEW did today helped them one bit.
No.
Best case scenario, they popped a rating tonight, but next week, I'm not tuning in because they aired CM Punk footage.
Right. And CM Punk's probably at home laughing at this shit. Like, wow, this is funny.
It was 8 months ago.
Yeah, no one cares.
Who gives a shit?
No one cares.
Right. Punk answered a question Monday because he was asked about it.
Right.
This was their retort, is we're going to show what Punk said pretty much happened.
Yeah.
Who knows what was said because there's no audio.
Right.
It's interesting. Go back and watch the video. Watch the folks that were around. Watch how they respond. Watch Samoa Joe be
on the left-hand side,
a locker room leader and step in and pull these apart. Watch who else was there? I think it was Jerry Lynn step up and step between these guys. Hook made an appearance. Was there with Jack Perry. I believe Chris Hero was there as well. So like just watch everybody's response to this and the locker room leadership of somebody like a Samoa Joe to step up and be like, ooh, this is a problem. Otherwise, you just see two guys having a disagreement and a little bit of shoving.
Yeah. One last thing, get you out of here. One last thing.
Yeah, my guy.
One of the MVPs of the WrestleMania weekend, ring announcer Samantha Irvin. Whew. I never thought, I've been a wrestling fan, WWE fan for almost 40 years. I never thought there'll ever be someone even close to Howard Finkel. Now, I am a Howard Finkel mark.
Yep.
I'm not saying she's the GOAT, because a lot of people are saying that. I'm not going there just yet. But damn, she's definitely making an argument now. She's definitely in the conversation for, if we want to go ahead and say she's the top 2 or 3 WWE announcers all time, I'm okay with it, man.
Yeah, man. I don't know many people that aren't starting their list Fink Samantha or Samantha Fink. Like, can we just have 2 goats? Yeah. We're a farm. We're gonna have 2 goats. Fink was a goat for what he did. Samantha's a goat for what she does. She is fantastic. And when you have folks like Michael Buffer being like, she's something special. That's a pretty fucking ringing endorsement when, I don't know, the greatest announcer of all time, Michael Buffer, is singing your praises. Does it get much better in the announcing game than Michael Buffer? I mean, by God.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, she so absolutely killed it this weekend.
I think she does such a good job in reading the moment. Like you can, just to watch her is really cool because you see her like clench her fist and really get into it when she needs to. And you know what? That Cody Rhodes call, man, I bet she was emotional. This is her job. She was on this journey with all of us, more so than a fan. I mean, she is calling these matches event in and event out, and seeing this moment where Cody Rhodes finally pays off.
Yeah.
I know wrestling fans that were emotional in that moment. And that's how you know here's the deal. Eagles won the Super Bowl, man. I cried a little bit. I'm not going to lie. It was a moment that I waited my whole life for. When it happened, I was like, the Eagles, oh my God. And I just overwhelmed with emotion. The first time ever seeing your football team win a Super Bowl. What? So yeah, man, why wouldn't she be emotional in that moment?
Yeah,
she's incredible. Her and Ricochet, a couple, by the way.
Yeah, no, engaged.
Yeah, good on them.
Well, I've known about her for years, even before she got in WWE. So I know about her for years. So,
so you're like an OG Samantha fan.
Well, I knew about her because she was part of the Michael Jackson tribute show in Vegas back in the day. And I'm a massive MJ fan, so that's why I knew about her.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, and that's why I knew about her.
Here I come on the Earnestly Speaking podcast, and I gain knowledge.
Yeah, that's why I knew about her.
if I could spend an hour 45 with you and we can laugh and we can have a good time and I
Yeah.
can learn something,
Yeah.
this is an hour 45 well spent.
She was on also in addition to that, she did America's Got Talent. Also on top of it, she plays the flute, she could sing. That girl got pipes.
I think you got talent, EJ. You're selling yourself short.
I try, brother. I try. But yeah, she's amazing. Like I said, I know a lot of people are pushing back on she's not a GOAT. Look, it's what makes her
Brian
great.
Hebner's upset about it. Brian Hebner's not a fan.
Who is he? Is that related to Earl?
Yeah, it's Earl's kid.
Okay.
I'm fairly certain Brian Hebner. Let me make that.
Yeah.
Just confirm that.
You
Brian
can do that.
Hebner.
But like to me, what is that ain't so much what she obviously she's great what she does. She has great pipes. But to me, what makes her phenomenal is that she's unique. She's unique. It's not like we never had female announcers for the WWE. They've had females for years. We're talking about in the 80s too. You know, they weren't on Fink level, but some of them were decent. But what she does, she's very unique. That's something that we've never heard. Like the way she calls Gunther's name. Gunther. I mean, that is amazing.
I think Gunther had a better run because Samantha Irvin.
Absolutely.
If you have a ring announcer saying, "Here's Gunther," Gunther. That's not Gunther.
Yeah.
But like, man, just pronouncing it the way she pronounced it's important. I love the way she announces the entire Imperium. Giovanni Vinci.
Yeah.
And the way she does, she's poetic. Giovanni Vinci.
Mm-hmm.
And Ludwig Kaiser, like really a hard, like German sounding name. Like she's really good at what she does, man. I put her, if not 1, 2, right behind the Fink. This weekend solidified that for me.
Yeah.
And Brian Hebner is the son of Earl Hebner.
Yeah, I'm bringing up something here also too. Like she has one of the things that people are now realizing too. Like she has 2 major tattoos on her. I was telling Jim during the weekend, you know, I can't, because we were talking about her during the Wrestlemania. I'm like, I can't stop staring at her MJ tattoo. It's right there on her leg. She has the Beatles right here up here. It's the Beatles tattoo right here on her arm, and right down here is Michael Jackson tattoo.
Look at that.
Yeah,
I didn't know that. That's 2 things I learned tonight. Stop it. My brain can only get so big.
She's a massive MJ fan, massive. And to me, you know, everybody knows who I am. Like that, you gain a lot of points on me on that shit. A lot of points.
Now, are you're familiar with the MJ or the MJ wrestler Santana Garrett?
I am.
Nope, Santana Jackson. I apologize.
Yeah, he's got engaged actually recently.
Did he really? Nice.
Yeah, I just saw like a couple of days ago, actually, if I'm not mistaken.
Like he's an impersonator. I think he was doing stuff in Vegas as well. But
yes, he was.
Like those viral videos of MJ wrestling, like that is
he's
him,
really
right?
Good. He's really good.
Yeah, he is.
He has that. He'll do the thrill dance, for example, whatever. I'm like, dude, that's pretty good.
Is it Santana Jackson? Is that?
Yes. I think that's his name. Let me make sure bring up a quick. But I do follow him though on Instagram. I'll tell you right now. While we're on music though, any concerts you're going to? Yeah, it's Santana Jackson.
Oh shit!
Yes.
I'm actually friends with him on Facebook.
Yeah, there you go. He got engaged literally 3 days ago.
Me and Santana are tight.
Yeah, we got. You know him?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, we just happen to be Facebook friends through.
Wait, he does indie shows though.
He does, yeah. I've never been on a show with him.
Yeah. While we're on music, real quick, because I know you're a big concert guy too, also like myself.
Huge concert guy.
What shows are you looking to see this year?
I'm hoping to hit 15 different shows this year. So that means the credit cards are getting flexed pretty hard.
It's worth it, brother. It's worth it.
So far this year, let's see here. It was a late moment decision. I am again from Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Lititz, more specifically. Grew up listening to country music, so a big country music guy.
I keep figuring you are a country guy.
I am. Caught Blake Shelton in February. In March, I caught the Dropkick Murphys, which is kind of a bucket list band for me on their St. Patty's Day tour. Coming up, old country band. I don't know if you remember the band Alabama at all.
Yeah.
They sing a song called Mountain Music. They're actually hitting Hershey with Lee Greenwood, for God's sakes.
Oh,
God
wow.
bless the USA. Like, that's their opening act. I didn't know he was still a thing. Catching them in April. Early May, I'm going to see Mudvayne.
Saw him last year.
I'm
time.
real excited for them. I forget
Yeah.
who was on that bill, but that seems like a pretty good show. Let me see if I can find that, because you're a metal guy, right?
Hardcore.
You're a hardcore guy.
No, a metal guy. I'm
Hardcore
a
metal
massive
guy.
metal fan. I played in a metal band for many years.
Did you really?
I sure did play bass.
I didn't
Sure
know
did.
that.
Yes, I did.
Shit.
My band sound like a lot like Mudvayne, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Now that I would be interested in for sure.
Yeah, I'm a massive.
I can't see who the hell.
I'm a big Metallica fan. Metallica, Megadeth, Fear Factory, Seven Dust, Lamb of God. Soilwork.
Lamb of God, boy, that was fun with Mark last year. He had no clue what he was getting into.
I've seen Lamb of God about 9 times live.
Wow.
They're actually one of my favorite live bands to see. I think they're phenomenal live. Their sound is incredible. Yeah,
nice.
I'm a big Lamb of God guy. I've probably seen them and Seven Dust the most.
Okay.
Yeah, at least 8 or 10 times. And Fear Factory.
Concert wise, I dry up till July. I'm going to a 2-day country music festival in southern Lancaster, July 3rd and 4th. Oh boy! Then I'm going to see Lainey Wilson
I know
at
she
the
is.
end of July. She's probably one of my favorites. Guy named Brantley Gilbert later that week at the Delaware State Fair. Following that, I'm catching Creed, which I'm very excited about.
Creed?
Creed.
Mm-hmm.
Creed with Three Doors Down and Finger 11.
Mm-hmm.
Then I'm catching my favorite band of all time. I finally get to see Green Day. Never got to see Green Day before. Catching Green Day. I think the card there is phenomenal. It's Green Day, Smashing Pumpkins, and Rancid. So that has me real excited.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the summer, in October, I'm seeing Pink. I'm not a huge pop music fan, but I'm thrilled to see Pink with Sheryl Crow and the band The Script. Not really familiar with them. I think they had one song I was familiar with.
Yeah,
but
that one
I had heard Pink puts on a hell of a performance, so very excited to see Miss Pink. And then later that week, I'm going to the Country Calling Festival in Ocean City. That has that's headlined by Jelly Roll.
Okay.
And Lainey Wilson's going to be there again.
He's really talented.
That's
Jelly Roll.
a whole bunch of stuff, but real excited to see Jelly Roll as well. I think he's got a really cool story and a really fresh take on country music, blending some hip hop with country music. So I'm really excited to see what Jelly has to bring.
Yeah. No, I've heard about him before. He's really, really talented.
And then I'm always looking to add more concerts. There's still a few coming up around here. The band Bush from the 90s. They're going to be touring with Daughtry and Our Lady Peace.
Oh wow!
I believe.
What year are we in again? 1997.
I know, right? Right. This is like high school, college Ryan right here. So that's a cool nostalgia show. Willie Nelson's going to be back at.
He's
Hershey
90
Park.
years old.
Dude,
he's 90 years old.
I saw Willie last year.
So I'm doing Wrestlemania I'm watching all WrestleManias in order for the first time, like 1 to 40 in order, because I've never seen 20 through 29 and then 31 through 35 in completion. I've seen matches off those shows, but not the entire show. So I'm going through the order. Right now I'm on 10 currently. And I passed 7 like a couple days ago, and Willie Nelson did the national anthem.
Yeah, he sang. Yeah, that was it. God Bless America.
Yeah,
was it the national anthem?
7,
2.
1 and 2. Yeah.
Willie. Old Willie. He, man, I didn't know what I was getting into, but that was a really cool night. He's just one of those iconic, old acts. Like, man, and I caught the tickets for $25.
Oh, dude, so you gotta do it, man.
It was the right price. During like concert week when Live Nation goes on the $25 like all-in tickets. So I'll probably catch Hootie and the Blowfish for like $25. But
they're coming to summer too. Also,
great.
I kind of want to see them though live though.
But dude, it's Hootie and the Blowfish. I'd absolutely check them out. And
yeah,
who are they with? Collective Soul.
Yeah.
So
I know
that's a very 90s vibe as well. Late
1995,
90s.
96. Here we go. I'm in high school now.
And they
Look at
just
that.
announced up at another venue. It's 311 and live.
I'm Dynasty 311 live.
So that would be a pretty cool show. I've seen live before. This version of live, I think it's just the lead singer. The rest of the band had a falling out, but
Throwing
Ed
Coppers one of
Kowalczyk.
Throwing Coppers one of my favorite records of all time. By the record.
Throwing Copper is one of those albums that I can put on, and it's a non-skip album for me. That is
absolutely
one of the perfect rock albums of the 90s.
I got quite a few non-skippable albums actually. You'd be surprised at the ones I'll tell you. That's kind of like unskippable. I have about maybe 12 or 13 albums that are non-skippables. You know what I'm saying?
I feel like this is the podcast in and of itself.
Oh yeah, maybe you know what? I'll bring it on next time. We will do that.
This one
rank our skip albums.
Non-skip albums. Holy cow!
Yeah, I
have to do some work, but Throwing Copper is one of them.
Well, my wife and I were trying to go see 21 Pilots in September, but apparently that show sold out pretty much now, so can't see it.
Did it?
Yeah. Tickets are expensive, and there's very little left.
And resales just
to the fucking roof. Market. Yeah. So right now, the only shows I'm really committing to right now, Janet Jackson in July. I'm dying to see her finally.
Mm-hmm. She's in Hershey too. I would see that. Is it with Nelly?
Yes.
Yeah, that's the same show's actually hitting Hershey.
Yeah. That's in July, and then Korn's coming back down here in September. Nice. I haven't seen Korn in 20 years. We've been the third time seeing them, but I haven't seen them in 20 years. So done to see.
Yeah, I think Korn is going to a venue in New Jersey that I'm just not a big fan of. It's kind of on a hill. They're going to the Freedom Mortgage Pavilion.
How long's that drive for you?
It's not a bad drive. It's in Camden, New Jersey, so it's not the greatest spot in New Jersey. It's right on the water. It's not a huge venue, but they have this big like lawn viewing area, and it's just hard to see from the lawn. And tickets themselves are just pretty expensive for that one. So is it Korn and
it's Korn and Spirit Box and Gojira.
That's
seen Gojira. I saw Gojira last year. They're phenomenal. I saw Gojira twice, right? I saw Gojira in 2007, and I saw him last year with Mastodon. I know Limp Bizkit's coming this summer. I would like to see that show. Stain's coming to Limp Bizkit.
Oh, okay. I would see Limp Bizkit for sure.
Yeah, Stain's coming this summer too.
Have you seen Stain?
No, never seen Stain before.
I saw Stain a couple years ago with Seether and Papa Roach, and Papa Roach stole the show. See, Stain was the headliner, and I don't know, maybe I caught him on a bad night, but like it was just like I'm on the outs just all night long, just kind of hanging off of the fucking mic stand, just like this.
He's very MAGA, by the way, too.
Very MAGA. And this was long before that. And I don't even give a shit of one person's
he's a talented guy. You're wrong. I'm not even knocking him. He's a talented guy.
No, I'm not knocking Aaron Lewis either. I don't know if I caught Aaron Lewis on a bad night, but it was just not a great Stain performance. Right. Never been a huge Seether fan. But Papa Roach opened the show and fucking stole the show. They set the bar so fucking high. If I was Seether or Stain, I'd have been pissed that they blew it out of the water so hard that we had to go follow that. But I mean, Stain. I mean, their hard songs hit, their ballads hit. He sounded fine. It was just it was just nothing from Aaron Lewis. Just up on the mic stand all night long. And I don't know what I was expecting. Maybe someone.
Maybe he was drunk. I don't know.
Maybe it was. Who knows? But yeah, I'm not gonna fault The Rock for endorsing Joe Biden or not endorsing Joe Biden. Just the same, I'm not gonna fault Aaron Lewis for endorsing Donald Trump or not endorsing Donald Trump.
Yeah,
that's totally
that's his personal opinion. Who gives a fuck? Seriously.
Right. Growing up, like I said, I was a registered Republican. Green Day has always been my favorite band. Green Day hasn't wavered on their support for the Dems. They were big contributors to like the Rock Against Bush punk rock album. So like I can easily separate somebody's political beliefs from the music that they produce and that I enjoy. That's never been a problem for me.
Yeah, but, Green Day is Green Day's always been libtards.
Always have been. They've always been,
and they own that shit. They don't give a fuck.
They sure don't. I bought the Donald Trump Nimrod shirt. I used to have it hanging in my room, but I retired that now when that came out. And the money benefited some foundation or whatever, but always been a big Green Day fan. I'm super stoked to finally get to see them.
Never saw them before, huh?
Never. No.
Wow, that's crazy.
Dookie's another one of those non-skip albums from the 90s.
W the conversation. W the conversation.
Yeah.
W the conversation.
I like Nimrod too. Nimrod's something that's
well,
really
Dookie's
special.
actually the album that got me to rock music. To be honest with you.
Real okay, nice.
Well, I would say so for me, my journey. I'm gonna close it here. My journey to rock really starts with MJ, Prince, all that. Then you get into like early '90s like Cranberries and Spin Doctors and all that stuff. And then in around '94, I discovered Green Day. And Green Day, that album Dookie changed everything for me. Then I got into Rage Machine. That's their second. Oh no, their first album, subtitled. So I started getting heavier.
Against the Machine.
Yeah, I started getting heavier and heavier and heavier. Then I got to Metallica, and once I hit Metallica, that was it. Metallica is like my favorite band of all time. So, and I was on to the races from that point. So, yeah.
No, did you catch Pantera last year? Did you catch
No. I missed
any
that
interest?
Show. That show never came down here.
Oh, did it? Oh, okay.
Pantera did come down here in February with Lamb of God, but I couldn't make it.
Okay.
Didn't make it.
Yeah. Any interest in that, or were you a Pantera
absolutely.
guy?
No,
okay.
yeah, of course.
Yeah,
but of course, my two guys are gone. Vinny and Dimebag are gone.
Yeah,
so,
they are.
So it's kind of. I mean, I see Phil and Rex, but still, it's
sure.
And Zach Wild. To be fair, Zach Wild is a great replacement for Dimebag.
I thought both of the replacements did a really, really good job.
Yeah, I seen clips of the shows and it's pretty good.
They were really tight. Drummer, God, what was his name? He was from Anthrax.
Drummer or
I'm fairly certain the guy that was drumming was also with Anthrax.
Has he always been there? Has he always been in that band?
Yes, I believe so.
Let me Charlie Benante?
That's who it was. Yes.
Yeah.
I thought Charlie did a really, really good job filling in.
He's 61 years old.
As a touring member.
Doesn't even look it. Doesn't even look.
And Zach Wild, man, Zach Wild. I think that was
amazing.
Some unique sounds that Zach Wild produces that maybe Dimebag typically wouldn't in a Dimebag song. But I thought altogether, seeing them tour was a really cool opportunity. And I know we took intern Mark. He had no clue what he was getting into. And Lamb of God melted Mark's face.
Did he enjoy it at least though?
He enjoyed Pantera. He didn't understand a thing that was happening with Lamb of God.
So he's not into metal at all whatsoever.
No. Mark is not.
He's a Beyonce guy. He's a Beyonce guy.
He is definitely a poppy guy, to this day. But he had a good time hanging with his boys. He said. Now, like a Janet Jackson show, I think that'll be right up Mark's alley. Like Janet Jackson, Nelly, that's right up Mark's alley.
Yeah,
that'll probably hit the $25 sale mark up here because that tour did not sell really well here in Hershey so far.
Which one, Janet?
Janet, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, they maybe have only sold. So Hershey Park is a football field.
Yeah.
And then there's stands like bleachers type seating along the football field. I think it's broken into like 8 sections. I think they've only opened 2 sections of seating for Janet so far.
That's crazy.
So it just had not sold well up here.
Yes, that's crazy.
So Ticketmaster or Live Nation does their $25 all-in tickets to boost those sales.
Yeah,
they'll open a few more sections and we'll fill out the stadium that way. But I mean, $25 to see Janet and Nelly, hell yeah.
I'll go. I'll pay more than that to see those two, definitely.
Concert week. Let me see if they.
But by the way, you guys make PA sound way more interesting than it has any business being. You and Jim and Mark. Mark.
Yeah, we're in a cool area where Philly's only an hour and a half down the road. Harrisburg's an hour. The beaches are 2.5, 3 hours away. Hershey Park is Hershey Park.
Hold on. You can't say the word beaches to me because where I live at.
I understand.
Beaches. There's beaches and there's beaches.
Well, I just said beaches. I didn't say beaches.
Beaches for me. That's good.
If you want to go straight east, you can end up at the shore. How's that?
I'm just saying, like, I live in Florida.
The shore.
Like, I live in Florida. Like, there are beaches and there are beaches. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. I'm not saying that there's beaches and there's beaches.
And I say that as a guy that's born.
And I say
as a guy that's born in Brooklyn, New York, for the record, and been to beaches up north as well too. So
sure. Oh, I totally get it. I mean, I'm not comparing a Delaware beach to a Florida beach at all. Yeah. I'm not comparing Ocean City, Maryland to a beach in Florida. That was never my intention. But
and
if you want to go to the beach, it's 2.5 hours away. You can hit sand and ocean. Same ocean, EJ. Sand and ocean.
Same ocean, right?
Looks different. Same ocean.
Yeah.
And then Hershey,
I'm 10
like
minutes from the beach also.
Hershey's such a cool thing. It's a great theme park at Hershey Park. They have the stadium there. There are the Hershey Bears. It's an AHL affiliated hockey team that plays at the Giant Center. The Giant Center gets some really cool acts as well. That's a 40-minute drive from Lancaster, from Lititz. There's really, really cool things in this area, and we're just well centrally located. We really, really are. Pittsburgh's a 3-hour drive. It's a cool area to live. There's plenty of things to do. Lancaster itself has a minor league baseball stadium. It's a beautiful ballpark. You can go catch a baseball game on the cheap, take your family out. Man, there's nothing better than a summer night catching live baseball, having a beer, even if it is, single A like equivalent ball in the Atlantic League. Man, it's a cool area. It really is.
Oh, that's what I meant to ask you before I leave. What's your wrestling sweet spot? What area is your sweet spot?
Man, growing up, that Hulk Hogan era that kind of you were talking about will always hold a really sweet spot in my heart. I became a wrestling fan through my grandfather, who's no longer with us. But that was always, a really cool thing. I remember like going over and watching wrestling and playing with a few figures that he had like on his floor.
Yeah.
So that'll always hold a really, really cool spot in my heart. Like most wrestling fans, you kind of drift away from the product a little bit. At college, we got WrestleMania 20 as a pay-per-view and watched it as like a bunch of college guys drinking and having a good time. That was a really cool moment that kind of got me back into wrestling. But I'd have to say the last 10 years with the podcast, getting able to do some really cool stuff with independent professional wrestling. I shared, as you can find it on YouTube today, I shared a backstage moment with Damian Priest. Where him and Matt Riddle actually won the tag team championships at Keystone Pro Wrestling, and I was the backstage correspondent. And I got to interview Matt Riddle and Damian Priest about how it feels to become the new tag team champions. So to know that like I shared a moment with those guys and they've gone on to both have careers in the WWE. Damian Priest now the second ever world champion behind Seth Rollins after cashing in this weekend. It's a pretty cool thing. So the opportunities that have been afforded to me through independent wrestling, getting to call a match with the NWO with Eric Bischoff and Kevin Nash at the Pro Wrestling Empire, that's always going to hold a really, really cool spot in my heart.
Right.
So that's probably it. And again, it's moment biased because of these really cool moments that I've got to experience. But yeah, I'd have to say the last 10 years. So whatever movement that is. Yeah. But it's not just the WWE. It's an all-encompassing thing. It's the launch of AEW. It's CM Punk coming back. It's now into the Paul Levesque era. I think I will be a fan for quite some time longer now.
Oh, definitely. Yeah, definitely. I think this era, actually, especially with this last WrestleMania, is definitely. I feel like wrestling as a whole is starting to pick up again. We go through these like cyclical things every so often, every 10 years. Like it drops off, then picks up again, and drops off again. I think we're entering that.
We're there
again.
Yep.
Yeah. Ryan, we went 2 hours and 10 minutes, pretty much.
Naturally, of course we would. I'm the 2 hour, 10-minute man.
Yeah. Plug what you want to plug.
I'm not a big plugger. I'm not going to lie to you. There's not a ton for me to plug. I'm kind of a lame follow on social media. I won't lie to you. I forget I have an Instagram. You can follow me if you want. It's at RYNEagle, at RYNEAGLE on Twitter, X if you're a narc. No one calls it X.
I call it X. I do both. I call it both. Because you have to adjust at some point. At some
Twitter's
point,
Twitter. I'm not good.
Well, right, I agree. But
I'm not a guy that does change very much.
In the show notes, I go X then put apostrophe formerly Twitter.
known as Twitter. Right.
Yeah, so you have
Yeah, you can follow me there. I tweet about professional wrestling. Sometimes I tweet about sports. Sometimes
mostly about politics.
Sometimes Glenn Jacobs says something stupid on there, and I tweet about politics. So it's at RYN Eagle. Dude, check us out on the podcast if you've not checked us out. If you're a wrestling fan, podcast for 10 years. Our podcast name's 3 Count Thursday. Always the number 3, never the word 3. You can find us across all platforms at 3 Count Thursday. That's Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. Give us a follow, give us a like, give us a share. We're all passionate professional wrestling fans. We've been doing it for 10 years.
Yeah.
We ain't gonna fucking get famous off of it. Ain't happened yet. Isn't gonna happen. So that's
Just
not
have fun with it,
not our motive, man. That's not what it's about. Like, we're just passionate.
Would you
professional
ever start your own
fans.
podcast?
Who, me?
Yeah.
There was some talk. I actually talked to Mark about this. I had an idea of starting a podcast called Let's Talk About It, because that's something stupid Mark will always say.
Yeah.
And the idea with the podcast would be to get guests on the show where they want to promote something, go about a half an hour and never talk about what they want to talk about. And not clue them in.
Right.
So like, hey, we've got so-and-so here from, I don't know, the fucking pet adoption agency. They got a really big event coming up this Saturday, and then go 25 minutes of not talking about that event and what they do.
Yeah.
And then be like, hey man, thanks so much for joining us tonight. Again, we got a big event. Plug the event so people know about it. But like the idea of the show is to never talk about what we say we're going to talk about.
Right. That's funny.
That's
rude
as shit. That's rude. I don't want to be rude.
You should do that.
I'm too nice of a guy to be rude.
Being nice is overrated.
So like, I don't know. I like guest spotting on podcasts. I like hanging out with you. 3 Count Thursday again.
Almost 2.5 hours.
Yeah, we do every Thursday night. We do an hour live show. We do an hour show on Tuesday. That's more of a.
That's fun. Let me be real.
Kind of
I love the podcast in general, but the Tuesday shows are by far the best ones.
Yeah, Tuesdays are fun. Like sometimes we have an idea of where we're going to go, and other times we just rip up the script totally, and we're like, hey, let's see where this, and much like this show, let's see where this conversation takes us. Yeah. And all of a sudden we're fucking 2 hours later. Yeah,
all I said was this: we're going to talk politics, we're going to talk Wrestlemania, and I have like little notes here. I want to just remind me to ask you things, and that's it. And we just riffed.
Yeah, I'm not a note guy. I'm not super organized like that. So a podcast may not be the greatest thing for me. And I think Mark and I would have a fun fucking podcast. We really would. But
Mark's hysterical.
It's a lot of work.
I gotta get Mark on one of my shows soon because
you need to.
He's the only one. He's the only one. Well, he was on Take 3 when I was on Take 3, but that doesn't count. It doesn't like my actual platforms.
Right.
Like, I gotta get him on one of my platforms.
You absolutely do. You need to make that happen. That's must.
I'm scared though because
if you're listening to this still 120 minutes later, you need to check out that Intern Mark podcast when it drops because it will be.
I'm scared though because I feel like I'm gonna spend the entire podcast laughing at him.
Probably
laughing because that dude is he's.
I don't know how to describe Mark. Is the nicest guy I've ever met.
Oh God,
he is salt of the earth. Yeah. But God damn it, I can't stand him sometimes. He's something else. He really is.
Jim said he's at the way he is on the show. He's actually worse in person. He's actually that guy, but worse.
It's rude to walk away from him in person. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He really is the nicest guy you'll ever meet.
Yeah, he really is. He really comes on a nice guy. So, anyway, Ryan, great job. 2 hours, 14 minutes later, great episode.